The Doom franchise. When you sit back and think about video games and the titles that have revolutionized the industry over the years, one cannot be passed on, and that is, of course, Doom. Combining fast-paced FPS gameplay with an absolutely fire soundtrack, the series was an absolute hit right out the gate, and to be honest, became a lot of 90s kids' main personality trait. To be fair, decades later, it's still probably the case. A franchise that doesn't need a convoluted plot to get its point across. Well, at least for a while it didn't. I absolutely love the Doom games, and I've done quite a few independent videos on the subject on the channel. But I wanted to drop a supercut, a compilation of my content for people to binge through, or, I don't know, possibly use as sleep aid. If my grating cringe British mannerisms don't completely put you off, then go for it. But anyway, let's not waste any time. Let's check out Doom, Doom 2, Doom 64, Doom 3, Doom 2016 Eternal, and of course, New Kid on the Block, Doom the Dark Ages, and see if they were really that good. Now, this is a big boy video, so please drop a like and maybe, I don't know, subscribe to the channel. I do this making video thing pretty frequently. And yeah, let me know what your favorite title in the franchise is in the comment section. These are all stellar games, so there's no wrong opinions here. All right, without further ado, let's dive into the classics of Doom. Hey guys, Ty here. When talking about gaming and what has revolutionized the industry, there are a few titles that have earned some respect. Super Mario Bros. Set the gold standard for what a platformer should be, and was one of the first titles to move into the 3D landscape. Final Fantasy revived the RPG genre that was slowly dying off, and started to show us that games could have full and in-depth stories. The Legend of Zelda pioneered what open world exploration titles could do, and these games still do this and push boundaries in their own spaces nearly 40 years later. Honestly, mad respect. That's insane. But one franchise also did something pretty huge and was a different beast entirely. Birthed by developer id Software, see guys, I can take constructive criticism in my videos. These golden gods gave us what is honestly one of, if not the most popular genre in video games. And it all started with a humble little title every gamer knows. The ground zero of first-person shooters in gaming. And that title, of course, we all know it, is Wolfenstein 3D. You thought I was talking about the game with the guy that goes all John Wick on a bunch of demons because they killed his rabbit. Not yet. We'll get to that. Wolfenstein 3D actually is the beginning of FPS titles as we know it, and some tend to think it's the original Doom. And don't get me wrong, I get it. It's definitely the game that takes the genre more mainstream, and it was also crafted by id Software, and only released 1 year after Wolfenstein 3D, but that technically means Wolfenstein is the first one. It's the big brother. Sure, everything Wolfenstein 3D done, Doom redefined and improved on. Wolfenstein walked so Doom could, rip and tear. Wolfenstein 3D prioritized speed and snap reactions in its combat rather than strategy or realism. It rewarded the mastery of running and gunning. It also had a pretty fairly simple gameplay mechanic, where players wouldn't need to aim vertical, it was all horizontal. And level design that rewarded the player for replaying and trying to get through the levels as quick as possible, or if you wanted to explore more, spending your time looking for secrets. Honestly, pretty genius. Gave these classic games some insane replayability. Now I could spend ages talking about Wolfenstein and its franchise with a character that was obviously hated by their parents. Like, dude, look at this name. Poor guy must have had a rough school life. But to sum it up, thanks to the success of Wolfenstein and honestly all the money it made for id Software, they were able to work on their next project, and boy is it a good one. Doom. Now we've covered Doom 3, Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal on the channel already, but with Dark Ages dropping, oh my god, very soon, I thought it would be kind of fun to round off with the classics that made the franchise. Doom 1, Doom 2, and of course Doom 64 in this video. and see if the Doom classics were really that good or just some meh titles that people just thought were okay for the time. Quickly guys, if you like this video, be sure to thumbs it up and remember to subscribe to the channel for more cringy British video game content. Who knows, if you do that, I might actually be able to leave hell. Like seriously, I know I said Batman Arkham Asylum was better than Arkham City, but really, hell? Surely this is a bit dramatic, right? Anyway, back to the video. So no better place to start than where it all began, with the original Doom.
And I say to you, my brothers and sisters, hell is a deep, dark, foul-smelling prison of the damned, filled with fire and brimstone, lost souls and demons. And how do you escape this eternal damnation? You blast the nasty pink demons right into their beating little eyes.
Doom for the 64-bit Jaguar, the best Doom ever.
Now a little disclaimer, first off, I'm playing the combo pack that released back in about August of 2024 for Doom 1 and 2, which I think is the most up-to-date version of this game, which improved a lot of the controls and the fidelity of the titles, as well as making it more easy access for modern hardware. Not that Doom really needed it, the game could run on honestly anything. I bet if you tried hard enough, you could get Doom to run on my nan's pacemaker. It's always been a bit of a meme that people got this game to run on the most weird stuff. I think at one point it was even on a fridge. And it's been the case for years. Even id Software recently released a collector's edition where the box the games came in could actually run Doom 1. That's actually fire. But for me, the best part of this combo pack is the music. Oh my god, the music is insane. Doom has the most recognizable soundtrack. You know it, heavy metal while shotgun raining demons never gets old, and especially for 1993, these tunes still slap hard. But in this version of the classic titles, the music has been remixed by Andrew Husholt, and it's so goddamn good. Just have a listen. Now, I didn't even exist when the original Doom first dropped on PCs, and it wasn't until the GBA port of Doom 1 that I first got my taster of ripping and tearing through demons. Honestly, it wasn't a bad port. It was pretty faithful of Doom 1. It didn't have the like flesh consumed episode, which kind of rounds off the title. But other than that, it was pretty good. Though the music was a bit rough, it was super tinny, but no, I was a child. I loved that shit. What I didn't remember though was how much this game trolls the player. Doom 1 isn't a hard game until episode 4, which, like I said, was the one that was cut from the GBA port, Thy Flesh Consumed. And honestly, the difficulty ramps up insanely in this episode. It feels like a Kaizo Mario ROM hack. Honestly, if I didn't have some of you guys rallying me in the live stream I did when I played these classics, I would have gone insane. Thank you so much. Also, if you'd like to hang out in streams, I stream relatively regularly on the Guy on the Tie live channel. Link in the description. So why is Doom Guy getting bad touched by all these demons? Or should I say, why is the Doom Guy bad touching all of these demons? Well, you see, the players take control of the Doom Guy, a hard as fuck Marine that was excommunicated to a UAC base on Mars for decking his senior officer in the face after he ordered him to open fire on civilians. Honestly, based. Though what some people don't actually remember was before he went to Mars, the Doom Guy heads to a pet shop and adopts a little rabbit. This is very important, okay? Do not forget it. It's crucial to the story that spans like 10 games. The UAC base starts messing around with some portals and accidentally opens one up to hell. You know, as you do. And that's kind of it really. You rip and tear through waves of demons trying to lock this shit down. Eventually ended up in hell itself. So in terms of story, there isn't much to say. Everyone pretty much dies on the UAC base and it is just the Doom Marine fighting off the Army of Darkness. And I don't know how, but he's actually winning. There's a fine line Doom walks between adrenaline running and gunning and horror. It's honestly kind of impressive. I mentioned in Doom 3 that was id Software's attempt at trying to do a more atmospheric horror piece, but honestly it was actually here from the start. A lot of areas in Doom 1 actually made me think this is why that mechanic's in Doom 3, which is kind of wild. I guess that game wasn't as much of a black sheep as I thought. But it's quite wild. I never thought a game that was made and released before I was even born would jump scare me so much as this one did. Oh, hello. Should have known. Oh, my shit's gone. Fuck. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Okay, I'm panicking. Okay, I'm really panicking now. What the fuck? The gameplay is super simple, point and shoot. You're just trying to get from point A to point B, and it's kind of up to you how you get there. As fast as possible? Sure. Killing everything along the way? Of course. Or even taking your time and exploring to find the insane amount of secrets in these levels by rubbing your dick on each and every wall. Yeah, do it. It's completely up to you. The only real blockade you'll come across is the keycards, and in later levels, the skulls. You need to find these to open up and progress through levels. Now, I had a pretty flawless experience. I really enjoyed my playthrough of the classic. Till episode 4, Thy Flesh Consumed. Here, John Romero decided to go full chaotic evil and make some of the hardest fucked levels you have ever seen in a video game. I generally thought I accidentally put the difficulty up by mistake. End of episode 3 and the beginning of episode 4 is night and day. The difficulty spikes. I generally feel like John Romero slapped me across the face and told me to wake the fuck up, samurai, in this episode. The worst level for me was episode 4 mission 6, Against the Wickedly, which has the Doom guy laying siege to a castle. In concept, pretty dope. Love it. One of the cooler level designs as well. But my god, the lava floor is so annoying. Without a rad suit, you are taking constant damage when you're walking on this stuff. And there's only a few suits for you to grab in the level, so if you pick these up by mistake, GG I guess, you're kind of fucked. You have to use a teleporter in specific ways to solve the puzzle of this level. And to do that, you have to go in from different angles. So going to the teleporter from the left takes you to a different place than going at it from the right. But if you don't know the level and accidentally use the wrong direction for the pool, most of the time you will just spawn into a horde of enemies and straight up die. Let me up, 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 let me up! Fuck, it takes, oh my god! What the what just killed me? And if you don't use quick saves, you can restart the level, no issue, but you lose every weapon you've got and you have to start with the pistol. It's a little bit rough, but these levels have been designed for you to beat with no gear carrying over, so it's not a problem, it just makes it a little bit more difficult. Try not to die, boys. But even if you get it all right, and finally get to the exit, you have to fight off a cyber demon who literally one-shots the Doom guy. The aura diff is mental. It was here where I really started to save scum. I generally couldn't have done this level otherwise. Thank God this episode was not in the GBA port. I think I might have cried. Cheating, more like winning. I'm glad you got my back, Quack. Okay. Nice to meet you, cyber demon that just randomly appeared. Oh, I fucking hate this level. I don't like it, man. Dude, playing this legit would actually make me cry. I'm scared. I have 100 health at BFG and I'm scared to go fight this guy. One rocket, 150 health. Other than that though, no real issues. I did get stuck on a level for like 20 minutes because I failed to notice an obvious button at the exit. I ended up just looping around the level, rubbing my dick on everything, trying to figure it out, only to realize I was a massive idiot. I figured it out. And by figured it out, I mean I looked up a fucking guide. It's right here. I just needed to press that. Oh my god. Yeah, I know. Like, 32 minutes compared to 2 minutes. But after blasting through some levels that are on the UAC base and heading to hell itself to continue the massacre, the Doom guy ends up taking on the Spider Demon and escapes back to Earth, only to find that the invasion has actually started on Earth anyway, and they've conquered most of the planet. But worse than that, they they killed off Doom Guy's pet rabbit and put his head on a spike. What the fuck? These guys are evil. I told you guys this rabbit was important. I don't actually know what's funnier, the fact that the spawn of Satan knew that this random pet rabbit was the Doom Guy's and killed it just to piss him off, or the idea of this guy walking into a pet shop saying, I want that cute rabbit, and then calling it Daisy. He left Daisy with his wife and son before heading to Mars. And honestly, he seems way more pissed off they killed off Daisy than, you know, being a single parent without the parent part. But honestly, now this painting in Doom Eternal makes far more sense. So this takes Doom Guy to whole new levels of pissed off, and he vows to kill each and every demon. And that's how Doom 1 ends. The sequel Doom 2 takes place directly after. And honestly, I can see why the game is held to such a high standard even today. It's such a treat to play through. There's not much here story-wise, it's just this guy is pissed off and he is killing demons to work through the pain. I really enjoyed my time with it. The gameplay is still super fast and super enjoyable. The music is amazing. And that's both ways, even if you choose to just listen to the classics or Andrew's remixes. They are both so good. The sprites, yeah, look a little bit dated to today's standards, but for 1993, this shit looked high tech. It is a good basis to build off of for an honestly amazing franchise. But we ain't even halfway done with the classics yet. Next up is Doom 2.
When you want to play the hottest, fastest, most advanced fighting game ever, forget everything else and play Doom 2 on your PC. No other game gives you the incredible realism, the 360-degree smooth scrolling, and explosive action like Doom 2. It's easy to start playing, but it won't let you stop. Doom 2, it will consume you. Doom 2, playing in a PC software store near you.
Doom 2 released only 1 year after the original, and though not dramatically different to its predecessor, it actually brought in a lot of the fan favorite enemies and weapons that players still love in the modern titles. The Super Shotgun for one makes its debut, dishing out far more damage than the standard shotty, but boy, he be hungry. The SSG eats through 2 rounds per shot due to it being a double barrel shotgun, and I mean if you're going to use a double barrel, you're unloading both barrels, come on. This is actually insanely genius. It doesn't make the standard shotgun irrelevant because you will still be switching to it to take out the smaller mobs so you can conserve more ammo. But yeah, most of the time, you've probably got this bad boy out. The Revenants also make their first appearance in the series in D2, which actually surprised me. I always thought they were in the original title, but nah. They weren't. They're the spooky, scary, skeleton-looking motherfuckers that shoot homing missiles, and I mean, just look at them. They're freaky. Doom 2 has way more fun with its level design as well. There's subtle nods to past titles like Wolfenstein. Like I mentioned, not much different to Doom 1. Gameplay is very similar, which, honestly, bit of a double-edged sword. Sure, why mess with perfection, but I do feel like this feels more like an expansion to the original Doom. Call it Doom 1.5. If it released like that or just Doom again, but more, yeah, I'd understand. And a lot of gamers did feel like that. This game was still worldly received as an amazing title, but people were a bit like, it's the same again. Was hoping they would add a lot more. But to me, honestly, I think this is the best Doom game in the classic series. The levels to me are far more complex, much bigger. Like, look at the size of these maps compared to Doom 1. I can see why D2 needed far better hardware to run back in 1994. These levels are huge. So big, in fact, the developers had to get creative with how they teach the player to move forward in them. Did they really just put a giant arrow on the floor? Gee, I wonder which way I need to go. Oh, fuck. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that's kinda dumb, but my favorite levels being, honestly, any level on Earth in the main cities. And the difficulty, man, Doom 2 doesn't pull any punches. Right out the gate, it feels like it's just the next level after the final boss of Doom 1. It does not ease you in at all. I really feel like the devs took inspiration from the fan-created projects and mods during Doom 1's reign. D2 really does feel like I'm ripping and tearing through armies of hell. There are just so many mob massacre sections in this title, and I love it. This feeling here, this is why I love Doom. So much adrenaline, switching weapons, trying to deal with several different types of mods. God damn, it's so amazing. I want to bottle this feeling up and sell it. I might catch a little bit of flack for this, but my favorite level in Deed 2 is actually Tricks and Traps. I find the freedom in this level so fascinating. You open up to just a bunch of doors, you can go through several of them in any order you want, but the trick, get it, you know, because the map's cool, is to work out the best method for you to take on these rooms. Progressing through them is really hard, and though you could just do it in any order, there's obviously a way to do this that's way more optimized. And I really like that freedom. I see a lot of people complain that the level was far too difficult, or it not being super fun doing the trial and error stuff trying to work out the best way to run these rooms. But I enjoyed my time. Granted, I was playing on Hermie plenty difficulty, so yeah, I was being a little bit of a bitch about the difficulty. But I don't know, man, I love this level. Fighting a million billion barons is always a good time, especially with invincibility on. I see why people like running through these games in God mode. It's so good. My least favorite map definitely gotta be Citadel. Not because it's too hard or the puzzles are too much for my monkey brain. I just felt like an idiot for 20 plus minutes trying to figure out what the hell am I supposed to do? It doesn't help that it gives me a bit of PTSD of E4 M6, having Doom Guy essentially taken on a castle again, but I just didn't get this map. The first 3 quarters, fine. You can explore around the outside or just go straight in and take out the mobs. That's fine. But then I kind of got stuck. I didn't know how to get to the yellow key. I see it right there. I don't know how to get it. I eventually found it by using a teleporter to take me to a specific corner of the map and just picking it up and ending the level. Brilliant, completed it, only took me like half an hour. But I must have missed something. The teleporter I used is in this actually really cool looking red building. Beside the Citadel, we get some cool fights with big mob rushes. It's great stuff. But getting here is a secret. This is a secret area. That means the only way I managed to complete this level was by using a portal in a secret level, not just progressing through it naturally. And I feel like that was wrong. Again, I probably did something wrong, but man, I did not like this map. And you guys in chat seem to have repressed this level or something. No one told me how to do this. And I swear it's because you want to see a fat British nerd raging at a video game from the 90s. But all in all, love the levels, but man, nothing compares to my utter hatred to the final level in Doom 2. But we'll get to that. Story-wise, it's Doom. The plot is very much on the diet side again, but it does take place directly after Doom 1, with the Doom guy taking up the spider demon at the end of that game, heading back to Earth, finding dead Daisy, and his family, and deciding he's going to take out every demon that's on Earth. By this point, the world is completely overrun, and the leaders of the world are trying to cram everyone onto a space shuttle and send them off the planet. But the demons are making that difficult, so we go across 32 levels and trying to help out, one demon kill at a time. I do like that some of the levels try to incorporate a bit of a story. Instead of just being a random button at the end of the level, one level has it so it's a button that sends everyone off the planet. That's cool. A little bit of storytelling sprinkled into some cool gameplay. And we do just that. We send off what is left of humanity away from the planet, and Doom Guy decides, I'm going to take the fight back to hell again. The guy just loves this place so much, he wants a second helping. Unfortunately, this area does leave a horrible taste in my mouth for Doom 2. Before this level, I would say definitively this is the Doom experience, the best in the classic titles. But man, this final boss shaves points off. It only takes 3 fun-sized rockets to kill off the Icon of Sin. Pretty easy, but getting to that point is so poorly done mechanically. It's so annoying. You have to climb up these steps, turn on this platform that will get you high enough to actually shoot the boss, while he is constantly spawning random mobs every other second to stop the Doomslayer from progressing. And I mean random. It's complete RNG. Sometimes a few imps or a baron or two, not a big issue, you can just concentrate on the boss. But in some runs, he'll just go straight to arc files, which makes the whole experience awful. Makes his final level like a roguelite. Actually, a Doom roguelite would be amazing. Does that exist? Anyway, while these random mobs are spawning, you need to lower this platform, stand on it, and get to the right height to shoot the icon of sin, right in his little letterbox. But it's only at an exact angle, so if you miss the perfect shot, you will be too high to try again. So you have to do the process again, jump off the platform, bring it down, try and make the shot right this time. The whole time you're getting completely bombarded by demons, and each second they are getting bigger and bigger in mobs because the icon of sin does not stop spawning them. It got so bad that I started to actually experience lag in Doom 2 on an RTX 5080 in 2025. What the fuck? Oh, and did I mention that the floor is lava too? So you're just gonna be taking damage non-stop. And you have to do this 3 times. Man, fuck Miyamoto and this rule of 3 bullshit. It took me so many attempts to achieve this final boss. And I'd like to say I got better. Bit of skill came in. I was in gamer mode. I sat up from my chair. But I honestly think it was RNG. I think I just got lucky with what mobs spawned so I could keep attempting. I feel like I did get a method for the shot when I started counting down from 5 as soon as I got on the platform. But again, I think it was just luck. It was just not fun. The spider demon in Doom 1, it was a bit underwhelming. Couple BFG shots, boom, game's completed. But this, my god, it was not worth it. I would have rather let the demons have Earth than deal with this again. But with the icon of sin dead, the portal gets closed and Doom Guy running man's back to Earth with a job well done. The explosion was so big it actually killed off most of the demons in hell. Most. And it feels like the day is saved. And that's Doom 2. Doesn't do much different from his predecessor, but in all honesty, it didn't really need to. They tried to up the final boss, making it a bit more of a cinematic fight, but I don't know, man. It just cheapens the whole experience for me. The music, still fire, absolutely love it. A bunch of new soundtracks were released in Doom 2. They did reuse a few from Doom 1, but the game came out a year later. Can't really get too upset about that. And we have Andrew Schultz remixes again, which are absolutely class. Love this stuff. Go listen to it on YouTube. But yeah, Doom 2, it's got to be my favorite Doom in the classic series. I think my favorite still is Doom 2016. I feel like that just felt almost perfect to me, but I'm not gonna dive into that. I've done a whole video on Doom 2016, go check that out. And I know I skimmed over a lot of levels in Doom 2. It's not really my style to go through each and every one, which is a shame. They are made by different people and they have their own personalities in these levels. If you want to check out honestly better content, YouTuber by the name Carbine64 did a video on Doom 2 where he broke down each and every map in the game, and it's super comedic. It's a good time. I had a watch. It is great stuff. Go check it out. But hell isn't quite done just yet. And though it takes 3 years for us to get to continue our fight against the evil in Doom 64, it's a coming.
Doom. やるかやられるか Doom 64 8月1日発売
Doom 64 released on, well, you're never gonna guess what it released on. And though still, like all Doom games, it was pretty well received by players and critics, it was still the weakest one in the series so far. But how? New horsepower from the N64? How could they go wrong? Well, the devs thought it was still a bit too early to drop the sprites for 3D models. In case you didn't know, this was kind of a turning point in the gaming industry with this generation. Franchises like Zelda and Mario were adopting the new, cool, totally tubular 3D models, which left gamers absolutely gobsmacked back in 1997. I mean, this looked fucking real in 97. So when Doom 64 still stuck to its guns with sprites, it kind of got smirked at for being a bit outdated. But doing this meant they could go all in on the lighting and higher res textures. And man, they knocked it out of the park. Doom 64 looks fantastic. I was blown away. The lighting is so far ahead of its time, and after playing it, I can see why they went all in on lighting in Doom 3. They did such a good job here, with less horsepower than you find in those health fitness rings. It's mental. Unfortunately, that's where the positives kind of stop for me. Look, it's Doom. It's still such a good time blasting through levels and taking out demons, but playing these back to back, 64 just doesn't do enough to stand out as even a good classic Doom game. Like I said, the maps look super nice and have far more atmosphere, but they get a little bit repetitive. The mob placements don't feel strategic in any way. It just feels like they've thrown a bunch of guys here and want to see if the player can deal with it. Drastically different to Doom 1 and 2. In those games, it always felt like the devs were planning 2 moves ahead. Always thinking, if we place an enemy here, what will the player do and how can we make it more difficult to do that? And it made the difficulty feel earned. Here it kind of just feels like my first Doom ROM hack. I never felt overwhelmed and it made the game feel boring. They finally upped the models. In case you didn't know, in Doom 1 and 2, they didn't have the money to license getting actual guns to base their sprites off, so they did it on toy replicas, which is kind of funny, and you can actually see it in the sprites. This time around, they go far less toy gun-esque, and they look great. And New Kid on the Block, the Unmaker, is a nice addition, though I wish they kept the dev name. This thing in the code was originally called What the Fuck Is This? That's such a good name. I wish that was still in. But some things felt like an odd choice. For instance, the super shotgun. Still love this thing. Used it most of my playtime. Why the fuck is there no loading animation now? It's such an odd choice. It seems like they've done this to make it feel faster, but it's the gun almost everyone will use consistently throughout the game, and it has the least amount of attention to detail. It felt powerful in Doom 2 reloading this thing. It really felt like I just unloaded a double barrel shotgun into a demon's face, or what used to be his face. Now it's just a little jolt and we move on. It's nothing. The puzzles in 64 just straight up make no sense to me. In Doom 1 and 2, 9 times out of 10, you knew what pressing a button or completing a puzzle would open up, not counting the Citadel. But in 64, I never really know what the fuck I'm doing. I press a button, hear a noise like a wall's moved, and now I have to search the entire map to figure out what that actually did. It's stupid. And the worst puzzle in the entire franchise, this goddamn key. I need to get this yellow key. Easy. It's a little bit too high, so hit this button, it will lower it for me to grab it, but oh, there's a tripwire on the floor which makes the cage come down, so I can't just grab it. No problem, there's another button on the other side of the cage. This will raise the cage so I could grab it, but it also raises the platform. Okay, maybe I have to do these in a different order. No? Okay. Maybe I need to hit this button from as far as possible to not activate the tripwire. Nope, wrong again. Okay. Maybe I just rush the key as soon as I press the nope, wrong again. No, it's actually super easy. The most obvious answer is to lower the platform, not touch the other button, hit the tripwire, walk out of the room, and stare at this random light source for a few seconds at the bottom of the hall, which for some reason raises the cage. Makes perfect sense to me. Oh, this is honestly the dumbest thing I've ever seen in a video game. If it wasn't for someone just straight up telling me the solution to this puzzle in chat when I played, I would still be trying to figure this out right now. It makes no sense. How are players supposed to know this? Leaving the room I can kind of get. If the player can't figure it out, they're going to get frustrated and look elsewhere for the solution. That's fine, but to stare at a random light source, which up until this point you don't have to do, and after this point you don't have to do for the rest of the game. Oh man, I feel like I'm tweaking. It honestly happened so early in the game too. It put me in a bad mood for most of the playthrough, I'm not gonna lie. But it isn't the worst thing Doom 64 does. The soundtrack. Where the fuck is the soundtrack? I thought maybe at the start of the game they were just going for more subtle backing sounds to make it more atmospheric, and then when shit gets real, the heavy metal will kick in, but no, it never comes. And just like my wife, it pisses me off. When people discuss Doom, the franchise of Doom, the soundtrack is one of the biggest talking points. It's what makes these games so much fun to play. Why do we trade this for this? I want heavy metal, not a baby crying. I'm sure not everyone cares that much and maybe prefer the more atmospheric pieces in Doom 64. And that's fine. I don't agree with it, but that's my opinion. But it made me not like this game as much. It's odd. Without the hard-hitting tracks, ripping and tearing feels more like doing a chore just to complete a level rather than heart-racing gunplay. Now, before you start writing that comment, Michael, the ambient soundtrack isn't bad. Aubrey Hodges does a great job, and if it was in any other horror title, it would be amazing. Just not in classic Doom. The game plays the exact same as the other classic titles, so it just feels weird to have such a tone shift. In Doom 3, sure, the gunplay was slowed down to be more horror-esque and slower paced. So of course, having a dude go into town on his guitar 2 inches from my eardrum would not fit the vibe, but it definitely could have in this game. Again, personal preference, but I didn't like it. It's such a difference to the other titles that people actually went to the internet thinking their copies were defective as there was no music. Which is actually pretty funny, but wow, just wow. I even see people asking for suggestions on what songs to put on while they're playing Doom 64. Anyway, the levels are back to being more compacted, less explorative and smaller, which shouldn't be too much of a problem, but I do feel like I'm just running in circles most of the time in 64. Anyone else get that? I feel like there's always a reason for me to have to go around the map 3 or 4 times until I complete the level. But hang on there, Ty, I hear you say. I thought all of hell was destroyed. I thought the war was over at the end of Doom 2. Why are we killing demons again? Well, you see, after Doom Guy LMFAO'd back to Earth feeling overly satisfied after the all-you-can-eat demon buffet he was at, it turns out that he isn't too good at his job. One, and I mean one demon survived. One soul, almost dead Archvile survived, and though it was dying, slowly over a couple of years, it just respawned hell, demon by demon. I guess this Archvile was the 1% of bacteria no one can seem to kill. I think that's pretty good for a basis for a story, and I'm not sure if it was attention to detail or development difficulties, but in Doom 2, there are no Archviles, so it kind of makes sense. They could respawn anything in a map the player has killed, but they could not resurrect other Archviles. So there not being one in Doom 64 honestly makes a lot of sense. I fuck with that. Intentional or not, that's pretty good story writing. Anyway, the demon pops out a bunch of babies all over the place and basically restarts the war. Doom Guy feels pretty pissed off that he's still got to fight these demons. Though to be fair, I think he's actually kind of happy about it. I mean, look at that smile. The game starts us off on a space base where I assume most of Earth was hiding out after they left D2 and waited for Earth to get rebuilt. Just gonna go out on a limb here and say everyone's pretty much dead now. We go through a bunch of what are like UAC base light levels, and then we end up in hell. Standard stuff. It's pretty bare bones in terms of like the set pieces. They added a lot more lighting, which I've already mentioned is absolutely amazing, and some weather effects. There's a lot more thunder, some fog. Like, it is good stuff. And this leads us right up to the final boss. But again, just like Doom 2, this is a rough one. The smartest way to play through this game and to have the easiest time defeating the boss is collecting these demon keys. These actually upgrade the Unmaker, making it insanely OP once you have them all. These keys can also be used in the last level that blocks these teleporters that spawn out a bunch of enemies before you fight the final boss, the Mother Demon, the turd-ass looking ass demon. So, totally hypothetically, and not a real scenario, if you're a fat British gent in great neckwear attire, and you play through the game not collecting a single one of these demon keys in the secret levels, you have to waste so many resources fighting an army of mobs before you even get to the final boss. And if you get through that wave of demons, you have like no ammo to deal with the final boss. It's so hard, like so hard. The Mother of Demons is super fast, and she has these homing missiles that are way faster than the player. So if she shoots these out, it's near enough impossible to get behind cover and like not instantly die. She also shoots this flame trail out every couple of seconds, non-stop throughout the fight, and if you get hit by this, you take some damage and you get kind of stun locked in the air. I generally thought this final boss is impossible without doing the secret levels. I must have died 30, 40 times trying to do this on stream. Thankfully, I learned that the super shotgun can stun lock her from doing her fireball attack. Sometimes. And I mean sometimes. It feels like complete RNG if she's just gonna decide to break out of the loop and wombo combo the player with her fireball missiles. It's a rough boss, it's difficult, and to be fair, mechanically it's less of a mess than Icon of Sin, but man, was it aggravating. You either go through all the secret levels to give yourself an OP weapon to take her out with, or you do some insane stun lock mechanic like you're playing Street Fighter competitively. And even then, it is just a flip of the coin if she's gonna break out of it or not. I didn't like this boss, I really didn't. For a first time playthrough, it does hinder an already less enjoyable Doom experience to me. Story-wise, I heard that originally the Mother of Demons was just going to be a heavily mutated Arc-Vile, the one that restarted the war and survived Doom 2. I really like this idea, it's a shame it got scrapped before release. It would have made sense in the final act as well. The demons spawned all the mobs that were fighting, rather than just Ubering to the arena one by one. It's not a massive issue, and I get why they didn't bother adding it in, but I think it would have just been cool to kill off the demon that just restarted the war, rather than just this random ass, turd ass looking demon. But with the Mother of Demons defeated, and I guess the demons just procreating now, the Doom guy decides to take his hobby full time and stay in hell. Not trying to get back to Earth and the humans, but staying in hell, killing off demons for the rest of time. Honestly, sounds like heaven for him. That way they can't return to Earth and cause more mischief. Unless, you know, he gets tricked into a coffin and the humans go looking for fossil fuels on Mars, but we'll get to that when we get to that. So that's Doom 64, a fun-ish Doom title, but the weakest in my opinion. Still a good time in its own right. And this franchise, man, if it teaches you anything, it's that games can evolve, and that's why these classics are still around today. It's hard to believe 30 years later, we're still celebrating franchises like Mario and Zelda and Doom. They've really stood the test of time, breaking boundaries just like they did way back in the 80s and 90s, and constantly pushing this hobby we all love further and further. So the classic Doom games, are they really that good? Hell yeah they are. What are you talking about, me? They are what made FPS titles, and also made them what they are today. If it wasn't for id Software, we never would have had our Call of Duties or Apex Legends. And I honestly owe a debt of gratitude to these devs for shaping one of my favorite genres of video games 30 years later. Absolutely mental, brilliant franchise, and it's been a blast going through them again with you guys on stream. And also to you viewer, thank you so much if you made it this far into the video. It's been quite a task trying to cram 3 games into one video before Dark Ages drops in, like, Jesus Christ soon. Like I said, I'm sorry that it was a bit more of a summarize of my experience. Didn't really have time to break down each and every level, but go check out Carbine64's video. That shit's good. And speaking of Dark Ages, with that being the next video, if you're interested, hit the Scrabble button and look forward to seeing that soon. I'm gonna try and get that out pretty quickly when the game drops. I'd also love to give a massive shout out to my patrons for supporting me with that dollar bill, y'all. It's insanely appreciated. You guys are the super shotties to this Doomslayer's heart. Thank you, Pitstab, Ali Tato, and Chris Spicer. As always, stay safe out there, peeps, and stay fashionable, gents. Tie out, peace. Doom 3. Man, I miss when titles were this simple. Can we get back to just having numbers at the end of our games? Doom 3 and Doom 3 BFG Edition are interesting titles to discuss, even though they are sort of kind of the same game, one just being a more upscaled remaster of sorts of Doom 3. They both actually have their own unique fan bases. This is mainly because some core gameplay mechanics were changed between the two titles, which we'll get into. Doom 3 was id Software's attempt to take what was essentially an adrenaline rush shooter, basically what we call boomer shooters today, and making it more of a story-driven atmospheric horror title.
I don't think I've seen you before. You must be a replacement for one of the guys we lost.
Okay, it's been 10 minutes and I haven't fired a single shot from my gun yet. Is this even Doom? It's fascinating to me how much this game just does not feel like a Doom title, especially right out of the gate. And some things do just feel weird, like being sucked out the Doom Marine's head during a cutscene so we can actually listen in thanks to our super bat hearing, just so we can understand the plot. This is weird. How is he hearing this? Also, cutscenes in Doom just always feel off to me. As always guys, if you like the video and think, hey, this British lad, he ain't that bad, please rip and tear through the like button and also subscribe. Be sure to do it quickly before you realize I'm actually not that funny and my content is trash. Thank you. Doom 3 is considered the black sheep in the Doom franchise, and for sure it's a much slower paced title and kind of does feel like an entirely new universe, just with the Doom moniker slapped on, than the other titles. But I don't necessarily agree with that. I think this Doom Marine technically does meet the classic Doom guy, who I also think is later referred to as the Doomslayer in the modern titles, during the plot of Doom 3. It's indirectly, but I'm a believer. I like to think these games have continuity across all the titles. It's all connected. And though some will probably disagree with that, we'll discuss that a little bit later in this video. But if Doom 1, 2, and 64 are what we consider classic metal, Doom 2016 and Eternal are most definitely speed metal. So for me, Doom 3 has got to be black metal. Okay, that's a pretty good analogy, right? Released back in 2004, the game was heavily praised for its stellar graphics and groundbreaking lighting system. And honestly, 20 years later, we still don't get horror games that utilize these systems like Doom 3 did and also Fear. Yeah, the games look a little bit archaic, but 2004 and 2005 really was the golden age for horror titles. But what's interesting is a lot of people had issues with this system. You see, Mars this time around it's super dark, like spooky dark. And the spawn of Satan can pop out at honestly any given moment. And all the player has to try and deal with this is a flashlight. But it's its own separate weapon, so you can choose to confront the dark with the flashlight, so you know what's coming around the corner, but you will not be ready to fight it head on straight away. You have to switch out and then obviously you lose that light source. Or you could just feel around in the dark like you're Ray Charles, just so you can shotgun rain the first thing you see. Wait, that analogy doesn't actually work. That's how Doom 3 was played, and it was a pretty good balance, but people didn't like this at the initial release. People complained that the Doom guy could bench press 4 icons of sin, but couldn't hold a flashlight and a pistol at the same time. It seemed a bit weird. This led to the duct tape mod being made, so you could use a flashlight while also running and gunning. Now, ID Software noticed this, and in 2012 when they released Doom 3 BFG Edition, they not only upped the model quality and made the game run far smoother on modern hardware, but they also added way more lighting in the game, as well as a shoulder-mounted flashlight so you could do just that. Light up the dark corners while also shooting. That's pretty cool. They listened to the community and took on board the critiques. Except the fanbase took that absolutely personally and now complained that the atmosphere and difficulty were completely ruined because of these improvements. What? Now granted, I am not defending this change. I preferred the aesthetic and play of Doom 3, but people complained, so the developers fixed it. And though I agree Doom 3 was, in my opinion, the better title, a way more solid horror game, but what did you expect? Most people complained that the original title wasn't good because of these issues. So of course the devs were going to try and hashtag fix her. It for sure was a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. And again, I find it really fascinating how different these two games are when they're technically the same game. BFG, once I got more weapons, it started to play more like the classic Doom titles, and even to an extent like 2016 and Eternal, where I'll just walk into a room and nuke every demonic entity that had the audacity to spawn near me, thinking they could aura diff a pissed off man in a shy. But in Doom 3, I was way more paranoid and careful through every section, where the sound of these enemies spawning in would actually give me a bit of anxiety. And again, in complete contrast to BFG, which when I hear that teleport and sound effect, I go into hunt mode. So yeah, the same game, but two completely different feelings. I can't think of any other game that has two versions like this. I just wish in one of these versions they fixed the goddamn shotgun. This thing is so temperamental, it does not feel good to use. Sometimes, for sure, boom, one shot kills a demon. That's what I expect from a shotty. But other times it feels like I'm just shooting confetti. The spread on this thing is insanely big. But with Doom Dark Ages just around the corner, I thought it would be a fun time to look back at Doom 3 and the BFG edition and see if these games were really that good or, like people think, the worst Doom game in the franchise. So with this title being way more story driven than the others, let's start with that, the story. Doom 3 opens up with the Doom Marine being transported to the UAC base on Mars. Things have been getting a little unruly on that base, so more authority is needed. That's why we're here. intimidation. So why is Elon Musk's Mars colony getting a little cray-cray? Well, after setting up the UAC base on Mars and doing what humans do, bleed the planet dry of resources, they accidentally stumble across teleportation technology, as you do, I guess. The base goes all in on this new discovery, and after thinking with portals, they accidentally open up one that goes directly to hell. Don't you just hate it when that happens? Now, most sane people would instantly note this and never play with that toy again, as you know, it literally opens a door to hell. But no, they keep digging and wanting to experiment, even going so far as to send recon out into hell to capture demons and bring them back to experiment on. It's pretty ballsy, not gonna lie. They also find a bunch of stone tablets and a random sarcophagus. Wonder what's in here. Ripping tear. And a soul cube? Wow, I bet the board meeting for that was super fast. Such a creative name. I will point out this is pretty much the same base storyline as Doom and Doom 2, playing around with teleportation and it going wrong. But this time Dr. Malcolm, the main big bad of this game, you know he's bad as he's the only Hannibal Lecter looking ass dude in the game. This has to be intentional. It's uncanny. Hey guys, Edit and Ty here. I've done a little bit of research and yeah, actually he's designed specifically to resemble the actor who plays Hannibal. It's crazy. And his name literally means deceiver. Yeah, he's definitely the bad guy. Anyway, back to the video. Gets a bit bored and wants to make the door more permanent and just let the evil shit come through. Why? Why would you work with the devil? It is hinted at that he was part of one of the recons that went out into hell, so he might have somewhat got influenced by the evil. And that's why he goes full dark side, but I don't know, man. I think the guy is just a bit of a dick. Anyway, the Doom Marine checks in on the base and meets a bunch of workers, punches a bunch of turkeys. And we check ourselves out in the mirror. Oh god, this game's got Duke Nukem Forever physics. Run away. Run away. Our first task is to go find a scientist that's gone AWOL. So yeah, we keep exploring.
Hey,
holy fuck shit.
scientist,
God
right?
damn it, dude. You
not
can't
sure
just
you
sneak
wanna
up on
find
people. Honestly, get used to that. This game is a big fan of jump scares. We eventually find the scientist and, well,
Nope.
Structural integrity at risk.
oh boy, it's officially Doom time. Alright boys, it's time to rip and tear. Like I mentioned, the gameplay is far slower than most fans of the classics and the new Doom games would probably like, but in BFG it does kind of feel like a hybrid of sorts. Sure, I don't deny the original Doom 3 was probably designed for you to take your time and cautiously check every corner. Yeah, sure, you can do that, but in BFG... So yeah, BFG loses what I think makes Doom 3 actually a much better title and way more unique, but I wouldn't go as far as to say it makes this game trash. I still enjoy BFG's gameplay, and ironically, it's more true to what makes Doom, you know, Doom. But I do get why people have issues, especially if they play Doom 3 first. So a bunch of satanic shit starts hitting the fan, killing off 90% of the people on the base. And to be fair, I don't really help with that statistic.
Up here, quickly. I thought I was the only one still alive.
While exploring the area, the main way we'll be getting story is through the PDAs that are scattered everywhere on the base. Everyone has their own PDA, as well as using computer consoles, which again, really like. They're really interactive. It's something that Prey used later on, and especially in its reboot. I wish more games did this. It adds kind of an extra layer of immersion. The PDAs are endless, and you can either have voice logs that, I'm going to be honest, take way too long to listen through, and in BFG are way too quiet. Did anyone else have issues just trying to hear dialogue in BFG edition?
Explainable things. Being on another planet and working underground has always been a little spooky, so we always have the occasional report of strange things. But what is worrying me is the fact that the number of these reports are up by a lot. People are truly frightened.
I don't understand.
The rumors we're hearing about experiments from the Delta Complex are not helping. The power fluctuations aren't helping at all either. Having the lights flicker constantly and losing power for several minutes at a time is scaring everyone down here. I'm doing my best to keep people.
I can't hear you.
We're continually.
All the PDAs will have email trails. They are quite interesting to read through, and most of the time they will have a random 3-digit code in there somewhere, which you're gonna need to open up storage lockers. This is the main way you get like the good loot. Again, pretty cool idea, but after a few hours, I'm not gonna lie, I started skimming these just to find the code to open the locker I was looking at the time. But what I don't get is, why the fuck are these guys constantly saying these codes? Ain't they supposed to be locked for a reason? There was one specific storage locker where a scientist started losing his mind and decided, I'ma drink the ammo for the energy guns. Obviously not a good idea, killing himself off. The UAC workers thought this can't happen again, so we're gonna lock away the energy ammo into a storage box. Makes sense. But why in the very email where they discuss the issue and incident, do they say, oh, and by the way, the new code for the locker is this? It's so odd to me. It's like emailing a friend saying you're getting annoyed of people constantly hacking into your PC, but then proceed to tell them that your new password is this. Why? I don't know, I find it really odd. The enemy AI can actually be pretty good too. Well, sometimes it's good. Possessed soldiers will take cover and work around your own movements, which does add a little bit of tactic to the fights and sets them apart from the demons who just try to bum rush you as soon as they see you. And speaking of getting bum rushed, honestly, I get sick of these guys who jump you as soon as you open a door for an easy first hit. This happens, like, no joke, 30 times. It's so annoying. Oh, and the spider head enemy things. Fuck the spider head enemy things. Oh god, guys, it's definitely gonna be spiders. I just know it. I knew it. No, fuck, I hate this so much. I actually would rather die than deal with this. I swear to god, having arachnophobia is like a massive IRL debuff. But some monsters actually do skill diff me. Oh boy, come on in, buddy. I have a nice treat for you. Come on, you're almost there, you stupid dog. Huh? Oh shit! To be fair though, most of the enemies become weeds later on as soon as you acquire this chainsaw. Especially in the BFG edition. Once you get the chainsaw in this version, I mean, the game is still a horror title. It's just not a horror title for you. It's a horror title for the demons. I also noticed while exploring the base, you get these really out of place sections where you need to escort a drone or a scientist with a flashlight through a relatively dark area. These sections are far better in the original title, as you need to protect them while they use the flashlight because you can't use a gun as well as light up the area. Makes it pretty intense. In BFG, you have your own flashlight, so it's kind of boring. So after ripping and tearing through so many demons, we head towards the communication sector to signal for help and also rizz up some women. Damn it, girl, just say you're not interested. So dramatic. We have a boss fight with a Timu Quilag, and Dr. Malcolm gets fed up of our shenanigans and heads off to open the portal to hell permanently, so you know we have to stop that shit. Through the lore we find out about the Soul Cube and these tablets that depict a war and one Soul Marine fighting them off with the cube. Now you could interpret this as the Doom Marine we're playing as, and it's a story for telling this fight, but I personally like to think it's about the original Doom guy, as at the end of Doom 64 he decides to stay in hell and keeps doing what he loves, killing off demons. And like I mentioned at the start, we also find a sarcophagus that does look kind of like the one the Doomslayer wakes up in at the start of Doom 2016. See what I mean? It's all connected. The community is a little bit torn on this. One side believes Doom 1, 2, and 64 are its own continuity. Doom 3 is, a reboot in its own original story and universe. And 2016 and Eternal, well, it's another reboot with a completely separate story. And sure, it's a game about just killing demons, doesn't have to have a Zelda timeline, but I do like to believe it's all connected, and each game leads into the next chapter. It honestly doesn't matter, but it adds a little smile to my face when I think the Doom guy is just catching some Z's in his sarcophagus while the world goes to hell. Again, for like the 4th time. It's a minor connection, doesn't impact the story that much, but I don't know, I wanted to say my piece on it. Anyway, we catch up to Malcolm, who's honestly by this point getting really aggravating, constantly throwing shade at the player and just giggling to himself. Malcolm, what the fuck is so damn funny? People are dying. He decides to open a portal to hell and the Doom Marine gets sucked in. And like with any of these games, the hell section is the good part. And I'm not just saying that because of the demon boobs, but I'm also not saying that. The area is a little short for my liking, and after doing a bit of research, there was quite a bit of cut content in the hell areas, especially in the vanilla version. But even in the BFG version, which added some of that cut content, they then cut stuff that was in Doom 3 out of BFG. I really don't understand how this version got made. It's so confusing, and also a massive shame. Some of these areas did get added to the Lost Levels DLC, that's part of the BFG edition, but I feel like they could just added it into the main story. Didn't have to be its own separate thing. But the environment is so refreshing when you compare it to the same claustrophobic, space-based, copy and paste areas we've been dealing with for the last few hours. For some reason, the Doom Marine gets all of his weapons taken away when he comes to hell, so that also kind of makes it more interesting. You can only use what you can find in the level, so a bit of that anxiety and worry starts to creep back in. Doing this means the devs have full control of the difficulty. You can't just stock up on BFG rounds and nuke this place off the map as soon as you enter. That is, if the BFG didn't suck major balls in Doom 3. This thing is so damn slow, barely does any damage if it doesn't hit directly, and you need to charge it up to try and get a little bit more damage out of it. That's fine, but if you charge it up for a little bit too long, it just blows up and kills the player. Who thought this was a good idea? The BFG is renowned for being the best power fantasy gun in all of gaming, not including the super shotgun. But it's not only insanely nerfed, but it can kill the player far more easy than it can kill a demon. Why? Honestly, just use the RPG. It's far more reliable, does about as much damage, yet it doesn't kill you unless you aim it at your toesies. It's sad, man, especially in a Doom game. I don't get how they messed up the shotgun and BFG so badly in this title. Wait, to get out of hell, we need to fight off the Guardian of Hell himself, who I didn't realize I had to kill off his groupies first before I could damage him. I wasted so many resources on this fight. Defeating the demon, we get the Soul Cube, a weapon that can be thrown at enemies to instantly kill them, and depending on how much health they have, can also replenish your health. It's pretty OP, not gonna lie. We get back to Mars and Malcolm opens up one last hell portal because apparently he can just do that whenever he fucking wants. God damn it. So we need to go close this one off. They refer to it as a hellhole. Again, the creativity on the names of this stuff. Mwah. It's beautiful. So the Doom Marine has to head off and stop this. And to do that, we have to head to the digging site. Oh, I hate this place. This place sucks. This is the worst part of the game for me. Checkpoints are few and far between, and for some reason, right at the end of the game, Doom 3 decides it wants to become a platformer. The amount of times I died in this section where you have to get to the bottom of this hole to turn off a machine is insane. I must have died like 20 times in this area. And each time you die, you go back to the last checkpoint, so I had to do several fights just to get the opportunity to try doing the jumping puzzle again. It's such garbage. I thought I was trying to stop Satan from butt-fucking the earth, not trying to do the Frenzy Flame ending from Elden Ring. I hated it so much. I know what you're gonna say. Oh, Ty, why didn't you just use quick saves? This wasn't something I needed to do all game. The checkpoints up until this specific point were pretty common, so you didn't have to do quick saves. But here, it's just tedious. Once we finally, and I mean finally, get through that area, this poor scientist, I got so fed up, I just killed him every time I saw him.
Who are you? What are you doing here? You're gonna attract attention and then they'll come. Get out of here now.
This was like the 15th time he told me to fuck off. I had enough by it. We eventually get to the original dig site where the scientists found the soul cube in the Doom guy's bunk bed, and we go through it to head to the portal to close off hell once and for all. I assumed this was going to be a pretty cool fight with Malcolm. You know, he's been the antagonist the whole game, constantly shitting on us. But no, it's just a demon. Just a big ass demon who was, I don't know, hitting his head against a wall before we walked in. Really? This is the final boss? It's such a shame. The boss is just a kite and shoot fight. All I did was spam BFG rounds until I ran out and then moved to rockets. Honestly, took about 60 seconds. Very disappointing. But with the big bad dead, the Doom Marine uses the soul cube to close the hell portal whole thing once and for all, and there you go. Game finished. Credits. That was so unsatisfying. We get a little scene about Malcolm who turned into a bat. Okay. Why didn't we just fight him as the bat? Why did he turn into a bat? Oh my god. It's such a rushed ending. Malcolm was constantly being bigged up as the antagonist. I really don't understand why at the end he's off at like a hell Starbucks getting his caramel latte. Why don't we fight him? Well, in the DLC expansion that was released after Doom 3 called Resurrection of Evil, we do kind of get the boss fight I'd expect. The DLC takes place 2 years after the events of the first game, playing as a new protagonist, #NotMyDoomMarine, while investigating a signal on the base. The place has been silent for a couple of years, but all of a sudden they've now got a signal. So headed by new character Elizabeth McNeil, I do love a redhead and massive tits. They head off to investigate. Now, I'm a little bit conflicted with this expansion. I think Resurrection of Evil is far superior gameplay-wise with all the new weapons and demonic abilities than the original title. I mean, this guy, right at the beginning, he gets the ability to slow down time like it's, well, like it's fear. And I love fear, so I love this. But even in the base game, taking the BFG version away, this kind of aesthetically kills off that spooky horror atmosphere. The expansion doubles down on that adrenaline-filled gameplay from the original titles, which isn't bad, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't fit in what they were originally trying to do with this game. It's now just a run and gun. And that's in the base title. BFG doubles down on that even harder. So yeah, it does feel like more of a classic Doom title, but why did you make it a horror game? It's so weird, man, playing through this game. Especially because ammo is far more plentiful, and honestly, every single fight you could just slow down time and super shotgun anything that pops up. It's just night and day to the base title. There's only really one new monster in the DLC as well, these Xeno looking dudes, or dudettes. Honestly, they weren't around long enough for me to get proper pronouns. And though the areas we explore are new, they look so similar that if you told me this area was in the base game, I'd believe you. I don't know, man. Playing the DLC straight after, I was just a bit burnt out. It's not a long game. I done both of these in a few hours, but yeah, the DLC is more fun for the wrong reasons, in my opinion. It really does feel like the devs struggled to keep that original gameplay style while also trying to do something new. I really wish the devs just picked a lane and stuck by it. You want to make a horror survival title where ammo's scarce and it's very spooky, do it. If you want to make another adrenaline-filled Doom title, do it. But these two do not mesh together. And because of them trying to please everyone, there's now this massive split in the community. I get why people complained and hated the original Doom 3. I also get why people complained and hate Doom 3 BFG edition. I don't really think anyone's wrong here, it's just weird. But I like the DLC. Finally getting to curb stomp Malcolm after all his shit. Mwah, beautiful. Should have been in the original game though. It also not being the same Doom Marine from the base story makes it more hollow to me. Sure, the player gets to experience that catharticism, taking Malcolm out, but this guy only just showed up. I don't get why we didn't play as the same Marine from the base title. He didn't die at the end of the story. Why didn't he just come back to finish what he started? Imagine if this happened in Doom Eternal. You play through as the Doomslayer and then bam, you're John Marine for the Ancient Gods DLC. That would suck. There were some neat ideas. They included puzzles that worked around the time control mechanic. That's pretty dope. And like I said, I enjoyed the gameplay way more. But that was because I could turn my brain off and just run and gun. Honestly, the reason why I play a Doom game, but not why I would play Doom 3. I would play this because I want to play a horror title. And it no longer felt like a horror game to me. Again, for some, brilliant. It's what these games should be, but it's not how this game got conceptualized. Doom 3 has an identity crisis. It wants to have its cake and eat it too, and because of that, the experience does get hindered. It's still a very good time. I'd like to point out that my comparisons are literally just in the Doom franchise. I don't think this is a bad game. I don't think it's a terrible game. I think it's actually a pretty excellent title. But what was going on dev-wise? I have no idea. But both versions? Jesus. Both versions of the game have aspects that improve on each other, so just pick your own poison. The more horror style of the original, but having to jump through quite a few hoops to get it to run on modern hardware, or you can go for the more fast-paced boomer shooter-esque title that runs way better on modern hardware, but does lose that unique original feeling. Doom 3 is the black sheep of the franchise, not because it's bad and the others are good, but because it tried something different. To me, it's still worthy of having that 3 at the end of the title. Thank you so much if you've made it this far in the video. That's honestly massive. Much love. I'm thinking before Dark Ages drops, I want to look at the classic titles in a video just to have a full collection on the channels. We'll check out Doom 1, 2, and 64. So there's going to be quite a few Doom vids dropping over the next few weeks, especially with Dark Ages dropping. Before leaving off, I want to give a massive shout out to the Slayers over on my Patreon. You guys rip and tear right into this British lad's heart with the support. Thank you so much. Pitstab, Ali Tato, and Chris Spicer. If you'd like to also support me and the channel so I can keep making vids for you, be sure to hit up the link on screen right now and sign up to the Patreon so you can get a sexy little shout out at the end of each video. But until the next one, stay safe out there and stay fashionable, gents. Ty out, peace. Hey guys, it's Ty here, and they say there's no water on Mars. They're wrong. Welcome to Elon Musk's Mars colony. You see, planet Earth is running out of dead dinosaurs to power your slow cookers, so the UAC sets its sights on a new logical energy source, the 9 circles of hell. I feel like we skipped a few steps here. After making a door to a hellish dimension, the unthinkable happens. Things walk through it, and now the Mars colony is overrun by League of Legends enjoyers. It's here where you play as Doom Guy, an autism who spent centuries trapped in a box watching non-stop TikToks. Can't read social cues? Just don't be social. Once awoken, this Chad man, suffering with lethal doses of brain rot, has one mission and one mission only: to skull fuck anything within a 2-foot radius, using nothing but his Twitch gameplay, which would make a Maxor video seem like a small dose of Adderall. And he's pretty good at it, with an arsenal that would make Moist Critical look like a pussy. When it comes to racial cleansing of the demonic kind, violence was not the answer. Violence was the question. The answer was yes. Hey guys, Ty here. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. In space, no one can hear you scream. That sucks for the demons. Because I'm not trapped in here with them, they're trapped in here with me. Welcome to Doom, but flip the screen, because there's only one thing this game gives me. Doom 2016 is the hardest soft reboot I've ever witnessed, with Microsoft doing what Microsoft does best, shooting itself in the foot. And closing down some top quality game studios. Still pissed we're not getting a Hi-Fi Rush 2, guys. There is a silver lining though. I did some super detective work and I have pieced together there might be a new title for the Doom franchise in the works. And with Summer Game Fest around the corner and Microsoft hosting their own presentation, fingers crossed we get an announcement for the series. This very thin reasoning is why I've decided to dive back into the original titles, and boy, these games are a bloody good time, man. After Doom 3 didn't really resonate with the fanbase that much, though it does have its appreciators now, the series needed to switch it up, and they did this by making a game that was gameplay first, and all the rest of the stuff came in later. But Ty, you ask? Shouldn't games always be gameplay first? You're right, but back in 2016 and even today, game developers try so hard to pander and add so much content to the games that they tick every single possible box and get as many people playing the game as possible. Unfortunately, the caveat to this is that the game really loses identity, and why chasing fads never seems to really work. You see, Doom 2016 from start to finish is the same game. Nothing changes. And that sounds like a criticism, but it's really not. When a game does the one thing it sets out to do perfectly, just getting more of it is not a downside. Yeah, I can go to a buffet and eat the lasagna with the chicken tikka masala, but I'm just gonna feel sick. It's too much. Certain things don't go together. But when you're handed a $100 perfectly cooked steak and each bite is amazing and I just wanna have sex with the steak, man. And the waiter turns around to you and says, well, here's a second helping. You take that extra steak and you enjoy every second of it. And what am I talking about? I should not write scripts when I'm hungry. I guess what I'm trying to say is Doom does gameplay perfectly, and when you finally hit those credits, there's no sigh of relief, there's no lackluster shrug at your time spent, there's just this craving for a post-nut cigarette. This is what a first-person shooter single-player game should be. And it's only fitting that the guys who did it way back then and revolutionized gaming should do it now in 2016. But there's a reason for all this death and destruction. So let's take a look at the very thin plot of Doom 2016 and see if it was really that good. So the story can literally be summed up as,
my guns.
Oh.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang!
Wow.
Bang!
but I'm going to try and stretch it out a little bit. So the UAC has been siphoning energy from hell for a while now, and it's working out pretty good. That is until a Chrome wannabe, Olivia, decides to work with the devil. When has this ever been a good idea? Think, Olivia. You see, she's been trying to permanently open a portal to hell. Again, you say this out loud and it's a no-brainer. Why are you doing this? This gets the attention of the Doom guy, who up to this point has just been taking a nap. He wakes up to see that the base has been overtaken by demons and basically everyone's dead. It's here where we meet Samuel, a freakishly tall robot, and his Alexa named Vega.
I am Vega.
We stand Vega here. After meeting these two main characters, we proceed to meet two more main characters, the Pistol and Shoddy. I say main characters as there isn't much in terms of character building in this game with NPCs. But the guns, man, oh boy, I grow attached to the guns. And this opening, man.
The world was purely for the betterment of mankind. Everything has clearly gotten out of hand now, yes. But it was worth the risk, I assure you.
I am literally a tripod right now. The gameplay is perfection, and honestly, it's pretty standard stuff. Just shoot and move. When taking damage, you can find health and armor pickups in the arenas to replenish, or you can politely ask the demons to borrow theirs through glory kills. The glory kills are not only satisfying, but they push you to stay in the action, to execute these, to refill the health and ammo. It's genius. You never feel like you need to get out of the action or to kite the enemies, or stay at a distance. Most of your problems can be solved by going up close and personal. And also, it wasn't until this playthrough I realized that you can do different animations for the glory kills, depending on which body part you target before executing them. It's so good, man. But when you're not finger painting in the blood of your enemies, you are exploring Mars and other places pretty in-depthly, and your Praetor suit and guns can get upgrades. Through exploration, suit upgrades are very meh. Other than the mobility stuff, you don't really need to upgrade these. But the weapons, my god, the weapons. Getting a mod for a weapon basically changes how it works. By the end of the game, you could triple your arsenal just by giving them these different mechanics. It's awesome. Like using the assault rifle while press one button and now it's a missile launcher. A heavy machine gun takes a little bit too long to ramp up, well, turn it into a whatever this is. Even the gas cannon has multiple uses outside of battle. Some people would say the knockback is a negative attribute, but I see it as a traversal mechanic. I just skipped 80% of the level. And the chainsaw, though being something I forgot about quite often, this thing can one-shot any enemy if you have the fuel for it, and it will gift you in a massive money shot of ammo. So again, if you're running low on supplies, the game is trying to push you to dive into the action. This is power fantasy done right, but that's not all. You have demonic upgrades that give you an overall stat buff for ammo, health, and armor. There's also trials that once you complete these give you perks that can give you an edge in a fight. Not that you really need it. For these perks, I took anything that gave me a bonus to glory kills, as once you unlock all 3 slots, you can gain additional ammo, armor, and a speed boost after every glory kill. It's so satisfying and rewarding. And that's what Doom 2016 is trying to be, satisfying and rewarding. Honestly, the Doom guy goes from a bulldozer to a planetarial bomb once you start sinking upgrades into him, and he doesn't need them. He's a beast from the start of the game. But it's not all upgrades. You can find these Funko Pop Space Marines hidden throughout the level. They're honestly the cutest collectible, and I like the little animations the Doom guy has with them. And speaking of which, I'm just going to add this to cart. There are also these secret nostalgia levels that are ripped straight from the classic games. This has been done before with past rebooted boomer shooter titles, and honestly it should keep happening. These are great. Wait, wasn't I talking about the plot? Doomslayer learns that Olivia is using the UAC's Argent Towers to open the portal to Hell, so we delicately dismantle these to stop her.
We're only temporarily disabling the tower. You need to remove each lens individually. Carefully.
Warning. Energy contamination detected.
Destroying the production of Argent energy isn't necessary.
Samuel isn't too happy about this. Olivia, now having to do this the old-fashioned way, heads to the portal to activate it manually. We chase after her and catch up, but unfortunately she opens the portal just in time. And we both get sucked through. Hey guys, Ty here, and welcome to the Never. So yeah, we're in Hell. Make sure your factor 50 is applied because the game is about to cook. While exploring this hellish landscape, it turns out that we're not just the most sane Idaho gun enthusiast. We're actually kind of a deity that spent eons, well, doing what he loved, killing demonic assholes. To the point where Hell got so worried they had to prophesize a Titan to go kill the Doomslayer. And it didn't work. Honestly, these audiobooks throughout Hell are amazing to listen to. Hearing the demonic presence stressing out over the Doom guy is great.
The age of his reckoning was uncounted. The scribes carved his name deep in the tablets of Hell across eons, and each battle etched terror in the hearts of the demons. They knew he would come, as he always had, as he always will, to feast on the blood of the wicked, for he alone could draw strength from his fallen foes, and ever his power grew, swift and unrelenting.
The demons just don't know what to do with him. It's weird, but you kind of start to feel bad for the demons. But luckily for them, the Space Marine does have something I like to call Goku complex, where he just has to keep fighting the next big monster. So the demons used this to their advantage. They tricked him into thinking he was going to go fight another Titan and just trapped him in a tomb. Honestly, pretty smart on their part. But anyway, enough backstory. The backdrop is different, but the mission stays the same. Kill. We collect a few skulls that are used as keys in Hell, and suddenly I have the urge to play a different boomer shooter. We'll get to that. And we find the Doomslayer's old room where he was kept trapped. Luckily for us, there's a portal back to Mars here. Passing through this, we end up at the Advanced Research Complex, where we learn that Hell has an artifact called the Crucible, and this is kind of important, so we should go grab it. To get back to hell, we're gonna have to get this Argent accumulator that conveniently is inside a reconstructed demon on the base. While heading towards this guy, we grab the classic BFG, and man, the devs knew we were gonna wanna test this bad boy out straight away.
Please proceed to the hazardous elevator. Do not board at level 5.
Okay, I'm starting to get a bit worried. I know a lot of people gonna say that was a waste of a BFG round, but was it though? We get to the boss fight and I stupidly use all of my BFG ammo to make easy work of the demon. Unfortunately, this is a FromSoft boss and he has a phase 2. We defeat him and Doom Dude has another blissful stroll through hell. We meet some homies on our travels. What's that, bro? More meat pinatas that way. We take their advice and we get to the Hell Guard, and after taking one out, what seemed like a pretty okay boss fight, his big brothers get involved. I was joking about the FromSoft game stuff, guys. Jesus. We defeat them and acquire the Crucible. And then get zapped back to reality by Samuel. He tells us that we need to head back to hell to stop Olivia. If that's what you wanted me to do, Samuel, why the fuck did you bring me back to Mars? Lucky for us, there is 80 ways to open a hell portal on this base apparently. I'm not sure why Olivia was having such a hard time with this. This portal requires us to destroy the AI Vega. By doing so, we'll create a portal and blast us back into hell. We blast through a pretty tough level, though this section here when you have to destroy 4 cooling tanks is actually a really fun fight. It's like non-stop action. I mean, that's just the whole game, but here it's like more so. And we get to the mainframe for the AI. A split-second decision to control C and P him means we get a sequel in a few years, so that's lucky. Anyway, home sweet home. One last time we run through a demonic obstacle course. And we finally catch up to Olivia. Olivia, look, I know you want to open up hell to the public, but this is kind of my thing, so I'm gonna have to ask you to stop. Oh, Jesus.
They promised me so much.
Oh, and suddenly Krang. We defeat Olivia, well, at least I think that was still Olivia, and Samuel instant transmission us back to Mars again, giving us serious whiplash. He decides to monologue and tell us that now that the deed is done, he's still a little bit pissed that we destroyed the energy harvest going on in the UAC base, so he has to move to plan B, and to do that he needs the Crucible, which he takes. Bro, just install a solar panel, what? He concedes that he can't kill us, and honestly, smart move on his part, you don't want none of this. But instead he zaps us off to parts unknown, and that's the somewhat shallow story of Doom 2016.
Rerouting tether coordinates complete.
Our time is up. I can't kill you, but I won't have you standing in our way. Until we see each other again.
We won't get the rest of the story until the sequel, Doom Eternal, 4 years later. Dear Lord, where is that cigarette? This brutal FPS, without a doubt, did what the developers set out to do. Take the simplistic first-person shooting gameplay and just revamp it to modern-day standards. God, I just wish that Duke Nukem did this years ago. The game takes roughly 10 hours to beat, but the replayability and secret finding does stretch that time out a lot more. And the game did have a dedicated multiplayer mode back in the day, that not only had you upgrading your prey from demonic demons to Nakuru with his open mic.
Your father is fucking Gargamel, maybe? Your father is fucking Gargamel?
But they added in additional weapons and some very interesting game types. Now, I wanted to test this out and didn't think I'd actually find a game.
I'm in danger!
But there are people still playing Doom 2016 in 2024. Which I was quite shocked at, and thinking I was going to get absolutely shat on, I actually had a really good time in this mode. I really wished I tried this out more back in its prime in 2016. Unfortunately, this was the same year that Overwatch launched, and thus began the worst decision of my life. But it's absolutely fantastic, and if you're curious, please reboot the title and dive into the multiplayer. It was absolutely mental and great fun. Doom 2016 is the most chaotic fun I have had in a single player campaign in years. This will sound incredibly stupid, but a game about shooting should only be about shooting. And it's weird that that's rare to see in AAA titles now. Games like Call of Duty and Battlefield cram way too much into their titles. This is why people gather towards games like Ultra Kill, where these boomer shooters that are just that, great times and fun gameplay styles. And I completely get it, most of the time titles are bogged down with too much story or unskippable cutscenes, or too long game time until you get to like the peak experience they intended. You don't have that with Doom 2016. Doom Guy is just as impatient as you are. Hell, he often skips dialogue with NPCs.
Solve this problem in a way that benefits us both.
And he has to either be forced into a situation where he hears story or get tempted in with loot to even half be present for a dialogue section.
I'm Dr. Samuel Hayden. I have supplies in my office. This way, please. Take whatever supplies you need.
I really hope Microsoft announce something in the next few weeks for the Doom franchise, as it's one of the best out there. And that's pretty amazing to hold that sort of title in the modern landscape of gaming, just like they did decades ago. Thank you so much for watching this video. I know this was a lot shorter than the others, but honestly, I needed it after deep diving into Arkham and the Fallout games. I wanted to do more of like a junk foodie snappy video. And hey, I had fun making it. I hope you enjoyed watching it. As usual, I'd like to give a big shout out to my Patreons. Thank you so much, Pitstab. As usual, you're an absolute legend. And Jody Denton. You guys are the demon energy that helps fuel this content creator. Thank you so much. Anyway, guys, I hope you're looking forward to the Doom Eternal video coming up soon. Until then, I'm going to peace out. Have a great night and stay safe, guys. Bye. Hey guys, it's your boy Ty, and I have absolutely no idea what's happening in this game. If Doom 2016 was the depth of the very hungry caterpillar, then Doom Eternal is War and Peace. This time around, the Doom guy leaves the survival horror atmosphere of the previous title and goes for more of a I forgot my pills so I took them all at once and then chased them with a Red Bull gameplay style. Each fight with the demon scum is incredibly overwhelming. You'll feel like you have gone into the Starfield Reddit and told them a based opinion. Meet 5 different gods throughout your journey into several different lost civilizations. These maps look so good. It's a shame I'm going at Sonic Unleashed speeds and I don't get to see them. Then why not top off your journey with meeting the God of Gods? You. Because if there's one thing I want to rip and tear through more than the demons, it's myself. We have more guns, more power-ups, more dialogue. This time we even have more washboard abs. Dear God, you could grate a demon on these things. But most importantly, with Spider-Man.
I'm Spider-Man.
Hey guys, did you know that when you buy this soundtrack, it has a game attached to it? Well, let's check it out, and before we dive in, I have one more thing to say. Anime waifus may be temporary, but wood is eternal. Doom Eternal follows on 4 years from Doom 2016, and gamers were super excited to see the Doom guy return to their consoles. And it's not surprising, Doom 2016 sold over 5.5 million copies on Steam alone. Holy, that is impressive. If you guys haven't seen it, we checked out the previous title in the series, Doom 2016, on the channel. So go check that out, click the buttons, subscribe and like, all that good stuff. But this time, the developers set out to try and improve on everything Doom 2016 did. And honestly, to some, they absolutely accomplished that. Others might say it doesn't quite hold up to the original reboot. Me, I'm kind of on the fence on this one because I agree in terms of gameplay, the much faster paced action and the new gimmicks and mechanics, way more fun, absolutely love it. Honestly, in some ways, I find it kind of hard to go back to Doom 2016. Losing the meat hook and the dashes almost makes it unplayable, I'm not gonna lie. But I do miss the more grounded and grittiness of the 2016 title and the far more digestible story. But we're not here to talk about that game, we're here to talk about Eternal. And man, this game had an interesting launch. It shared the same launch day as Animal Crossing, and the internet loved it. You literally can't search Doom Eternal on Google without seeing pictures of their collab. So Eternal gets a lot of things right, but I do dislike some changes they've done for the game. The more arcadey aesthetic, with the armor and health pickups looking more like they're ripped straight out of the original title. Look, I know that's the point, but I preferred how grounded 2016 felt. Finding a weapon in that game was literally pulling it off a dead corpse. It was grounded in some sort of reality. Doom Eternal goes for more of a Quake deathmatch style where you find these guns as like a hologram in the world and it just doesn't make sense. I don't know, it's a little pet peeve, I just wanted to get that out there. I mean, come on, the collectibles being question marks, that's just lazy. But the rhythm of this game, my god, the rhythm is amazing. Everything ties into the shooting mechanic. You don't find yourself using your favorite guns or a combination of the guns that you like. You use everything in this game. Separate mods are used to defeat certain different types of enemies. Enemies now have weak points that only certain guns can destroy. Hell, you even have enemies that give you a debuff and then run away. I fucking hate these guys. But when you bring this all together, when Doom Guy is fully equipped, you are a symphony of death and destruction. You're no longer playing a boomer shooter. You're playing Guitar Hero. And every chord is a different gun. Like I said in the previous video, we are diving into these games because I have a sneaking suspicion that Xbox are going to announce a new Doom title very soon. And if they don't, I mean, I'll just look like an idiot. But there's a few things floating around, like the title being the Dark Ages, and it could be going for like a more medieval style aesthetic, which would be cool. It would be like Evil Dead 3 Army of Darkness. That would be hype. But going back and looking at both these games, for some reason I can't decide which title I like the most. And going by the comments I've seen on the previous video, you guys can't either. A lot of people are either Team 2016 or Team Eternal. And it's so refreshing to see people on opposite sides, but not actively criticizing each other like the Fallout community. You guys respect each other and get where both sides are coming from. You just can't decide for yourself, or you've decided which one's better for yourself. It's so refreshing to see. So before I decide, let's take a look at the absolutely mental story I am 100% going to get wrong in Doom Eternal, and let's see if it was really that good. So we last saw Doom Guy getting blasted off again by Samuel Hayden at the end of Doom 2016. Now while he's off somewhere doing something, seriously, I can't find any information on what Doom Guy is doing prior to this game's opening. I don't know, maybe he's playing Animal Crossing. Anyway, Earth gets overrun by demons. You see, that door they opened on Mars was basically like offering free Genshin Impact gear at a local KFC. Samuel, after being a complete dick in the last game, heads back to Earth and decides to help the resistance and stop the demons. Unfortunately, he falls in battle. It was probably around this point he realized he sent Earth's best bet at winning this fight in a timeout, but whatever. It doesn't matter because Doom Guy arrives to save the day. In his, hold on, let me check my notes, Fortress of Doom. Jesus. Powered by our boy Vega. So it looks like it's time to rip and tear again, and we need to kill off these Hell Priests to stop the invasion of Earth. I like it. I really hope the story stays this simple. We head down to Earth and it's looking a lot more Caelid than I remember. And dear God, why does this game feel so bad to play? Honestly, I remember being super put off by this game when it first launched on PC. And rightly so, the aim smoothing is out of control. It probably isn't shown too much in the video, but my God, does it feel horrible. Now there are a few fixes, and this took me about 30 minutes to figure out, and I'm going to share them with you. First is motion blur. That shit needs to be off, and it should always be off. Don't play with motion blur, people. The second is under controller inputs. Turn off the smoothing, because even though you're playing on mouse and keyboard, it's still affecting your aim for some reason. My God, how was this not patched? Now doing that will sort out most of the issues, about 80% I would say. But the only way to completely remove it and take it back to that silky, smooth gameplay from Doom 2016, I had to play in borderless window mode. Now I don't know if these fixes will work for you or if you have any issues to begin with. I did, and this is how I sorted it. We relearn the ropes and we take out our first Hell Priest.
Remains guarded. Oh, really, dude?
And meet the Khan Maker. She is part of a celestial race that looks very angelic. Or how did Maxwell put it?
Every 10,000 years, all moths combine their collective consciousness into one gigamoth called the Khan Maker.
Yeah, that checks out. She is absolutely bricking it that the Doom Guy is here and moves all of the other Hell Priests into hiding. I love that we've only been on the board for a few seconds and they're already retreating. It's about respect. So to find the other Hell Priests, we need to find a celestial locator. So we teleport to Exaltia to find one. Exaltia is a Sentinel planet. You know those homies from 2016? Yeah, they live here. They have cool ghost wolves. And I have to give it major props here. I love the game's different backdrops. The maps look so good in this game. 2016, if I had to describe it in one word, it would be red. Maybe orange. One of my main issues with that game was that Mars and Hell didn't really look that different. That's not the case in Doom Eternal. Anyway, we find the locator, or the Apple of Eden, but we need to power this bad boy, so we head over to Hell to meet this cool guy, Valen. Now he says something about betraying us before and he's sorry, and he just basically just does a lore dump.
I told you all to leave me here. I am where I belong. Saving your people will not bring you peace, only make the burden you carry worse. It is your people's time now to give penance, just as it was mine.
I don't care. Give me the thing. Thanks to Valen, we are able to locate the next priest. Turns out this priest is in a factory. And this level is of note because apparently this is where they have been hiding Doomguy's super shoddy this whole time. And that's good to know because Doomguy has been missing that bad boy. Like, they actually put it in prison. They're that scared of this thing. And we take him out.
The beast! Does he not seek enhanced power? Gifts to aid him in his noble conquest.
How about new?
The Great Khan gets more and more worried as we cross off names on our kill list.
This game has gone far enough.
She decides to super hide the last priest. The tracker is pretty useless now. Vega suggests finding Samuel Hayden as he might know what to do next. Man, do we really have to? The guy's a dick. Which is ironic because, well, you know. We head out and we find him and the Crucible from the first game and carefully plug him into our ship. But not before fighting off against the first Marauder. Oh boy, the Marauders. A lot of people at launch were pissed off that these guys were so strong. I also love they take a principle from the Dark Souls games by making a boss out of this guy, and then he just becomes a regular demon to fight. And my god, they are tough. These guys have such a small sweet spot to get a stun on them. If you're too far out, they'll throw these like Getsuga Tenshos at you or whatever the fuck these are. And if you're too close, he will bust out his own super shotgun. So there's a sweet spot in between that where you can actually stun him when he goes for a sword attack. That's literally the only way you're doing damage to this guy, because other than that, he has a shield and nothing hurts him. I really hope we only have to fight one of these guys at a time.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Once Samuel Hayden is plugged into the ship, he is activated, and I love how neither of these two mention the big-ass betrayal on Mars. It's like a massive elephant in the room. Samuel tells us the last priest is in the city of Sentinel Prime on Argent D'Nur, which is conveniently only accessed through a portal in the center of Mars. Why? Fuck if I know. Doomguy, being one to quite often brute force a solution to his problems, has an idea that of course Samuel doesn't like.
I understand. Searching the coordinates to the BFG 10,000 now.
You can't just shoot a hole into the surface of Mars.
Bet. We head to Sentinel Prime and kill off the last priest.
This stops nothing. Earth will be consumed, regardless of what.
But doing this on holy ground upsets the Sentinels and gets Doomguy kicked out of their little club. Doomguy isn't too upset about this, and I'm pretty sure the only reason he worked with them in the past was because it helped him kill demons. I don't think he cared too much.
The portal is ready. We should leave immediately.
We head back to the ship and the Khan Maker invades and locks down the ship for all of 2 seconds. Honestly, she forgot I had a BFG.
This stronghold will now serve as your prison. With no power, you can do no more harm to our mission, and we may continue the work that must be done.
It does mean we have to use the Crucible as a power source, which means we need to go find another one. Samuel Hayden, apparently knowing the Doomslayer's complete history, tells us we need to head back to Argent D'Nur to find our original Crucible that we used on a Titan years ago, as the Doomguy used to work with the Sentinels to fight off demons on their planet and other dimensions before he went down to hell and made it into a sport. It's here where we get some backstory on the Doomguy, and we get confirmation that his name is in fact the Doomguy. We also learned that even though he's built like a brick house, he needed the Seraphim, this random guy, to roid him up so he could take on the demons. That's why he's so powerful and why they're so scared. The dude is on the juice. Anyway, we do this, we got our sword back, it's all fun and games, and the priests are dead. So the invasion stopped, right? Well, yeah, but the Moth people aren't too happy about it. So they've gone to plan B, which is to wake up the Icon of Sin, this giant robot goat. What is this game? Well, we don't want a giant goat and a bunch of demons back on Earth, so we head to Urdak, the home of the Makers, and we use the thing we got from the guy to break control that the Makers have on the Icon of Sin. Now, unfortunately, this kind of makes it into a free-for-all and everyone's panicking. Because the Icon of Sin now can do what he wants and he decides to go to Earth. Damn it, that was the one thing I was trying not to do. To get off Urdak, we need to plug Vega into this machine here so he can make a portal. By doing this, he becomes a god or something.
Now, insert Vega to activate the portal.
System acquired. Setting the course for the Earth dimension now.
I can see now. And I, the Father, comprehend.
Oh my god, what the fuck? Hell starts taking over the Maker's world and the Khan Maker decides to fight us. We sit her ass down immediately.
You have destroyed all that I was meant to rule. And all just to protect them. In service to our beliefs. Blech.
There was a reason why you were scared of me at the start of the game. Think, Moth Lady. Having defeated her, we dip back to Earth and chase this literal embodiment of sin through a city. And we get to the boss fight where we have to undress him. Basically, we need to take his armor off and then destroy his flesh to take him out. It's a pretty manic boss fight. There's a lot of enemies you have to deal with while trying to do this. It's good. Honestly, it's a really good boss fight. Way better than the brain thing from 2016. I'm not gonna lie. But after shooting his crotch a couple of times, we deliver our final blow. That's the end of the base game. I guess we did it. Kind of bittersweet, right? Well, luckily we got 2 pieces of DLC that came out after the original launch. And those DLCs being the Ancient Gods Part 1 and Part 2. So the demons are not just in Hell and Earth now. Thanks to us taking out the Icon of Sin, they are in every goddamn dimension now. Doomguy has had it up to here with it all, to be perfectly honest. Samuel suggests finding the Seraphim. This guy is literally the reason Doomguy is so powerful in the first place, as we got in a flashback earlier in the game. So he might be worth banding together with to try and stop the demons once and for all. We find the Seraphim. Samuel tells us to upload his consciousness into this godlike being. This in fact reveals that Samuel was always the Seraphim and was not a random human/robot we were led to believe on Mars.
I am going to transfer my consciousness into the device. We have been allies for some time now. I knew who you were the moment you set foot in our world, and who you could become to us. I brought you to the Divinity Machine and gave you your power. Where would all of this be now had I not had the foresight to create you?
Honestly, we're not even at the worst of it yet, and this plot is so convoluted. I don't even know if I'm breaking it down well enough or not. I'm struggling to understand my own notes about the story. This is mental. Samuel instructs us to go find the Orb of the Father to pay respect before wiping out the demons. And of course, this being Samuel now, we literally do the exact opposite to what he wanted us to do.
This is the Father's sphere.
Doom Guy is a simple man. He has only two loves in this world: killing demons and fucking with Samuel. By destroying this orb, the Dark Lord's orb appears before us, and we can use this to summon and destroy the Dark Lord. If we do this, every demon outside of hell gets destroyed. One kill equals all demons destroyed. This sounded like an absolute bargain to the Doomslayer. He heads off and gives the Dark Lord life, not before fucking with Samuel one last time. So no more pranking Samuel. This time we are taking him out for good, and his boss fight sucks, man. I hate this boss fight. It's probably one of the most agonizing boss fights I've done in recent games, honestly. The fight with him one-on-one is actually pretty simple, very much the same as the Great Khan. But halfway through the fight, he will stop and he'll put two of these spirits into demons that you have to deal with before you can even touch him. And he does this 3 times, and each time those demons get stronger and stronger. It gets a little bit too much towards the end. And just to be a troll, he moves the platforms around like it's a Mario level. Honestly, taking this guy out is super satisfying. Fuck you, Samuel. We awaken the evil, and it turns out that it's us?
It is you.
Who are you?
You.
No, not me, you.
Yes, I am you.
Just answer the damn questions. Who are you?
I have told you.
Are you deaf?
No, you is blind.
I'm not blind, you blind.
That is what I just said.
You just said what?
I did not say what. I said you.
That's what I'm asking you.
And you is answering.
Shut up!
I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what's happening anymore. He tells us he will fight us in ritual combat, and the fight will determine the future of, well, everything. So we head back to hell, and honestly, this endgame looking fight here is pretty fire. I'm not gonna lie. We blast through this giant war zone and we get to the Dark Lord, who reveals that he isn't just the devil, but he's actually God, the creator, the first being. What?
He is the first being and my creator. When he fell, I ascended.
They lied to you, Slayer. Gamora and its people would have been perfect, if not for the treachery of my servants. They sealed me away, stole my power and name. And now, the time has come for a reckoning.
The whole time, Doomslayer is just foaming in the mouth. He just wants a fight. He does not give a shit. Doom Guy bitch slaps a god. And then the Dark Lord asks him if he has anything to say to his creator.
Tell me, have you nothing to say to your creator before you strike him down?
Rip and tear.
Actually, he gives probably the most badass no ever said in video games. With the Dark Lord destroyed, the Space Marine passes out and the Makers put him back into his box to continue his TikTok binge until he is needed again. And that's the story of Doom Eternal. I really see why people play this game for the gameplay and nothing else. The story is there. There's an online mode as well called Horde mode, which is pretty fun. It has one Doomslayer going up against 2 demons, both sides trying to kill each other before time ends. It's a couple of rounds and you get some upgrades in between. Honestly, I thought it was quite fun. I enjoyed it, but I do feel a real lack of standard multiplayer here. I now see why people gravitate back to Doom 2016 for that online mode, as that's more of the experience I would expect from a FPS title. But hey, at least they made something new and unique. That's pretty good for developers nowadays. I love playing through Doom 2016 and Eternal. These are absolutely glorified titles, and honestly, they live up to the hype. I do feel like I prefer Doom 2016 more, just as a complete package, but Eternal completely changed up the gameplay to perfection. And honestly, it's just some aesthetic choices and the lore dumpy on this game. Dear Lord, the lore dumpy is huge. It's too much for this little Brit to handle. So was Doom Eternal really that good? Well, yes, of course. But like I said, I don't think it's better than Doom 2016. It's personal preference, but I truly believe the more horror and survival aspect of that game fits the Doom franchise more than this Warhammer-esque story, to be honest. There's too much going on, too much new stuff is added in constantly while you're playing the game. I liked how bare bones Doom's 2016 was, because it meant I could just focus on the gameplay, not trying to piece together every little bit of lore, like I'm investigating a serial killer. Like I said before though, it's not a massive criticism for this game, it's just something out of personal preference. It's still a fantastic title, and honestly, I wouldn't recommend playing one over the other. This is definitely a franchise that you'd want to play 2016 into Eternal. I just hope they do go for a bit more of a horror aesthetic in the possibly new title that will be coming out. I honestly can't wait to see where the series goes from here, and hopefully we will have an idea of that soon if Microsoft don't drop the ball again. I would like to give a massive shout out to my Patreons, Pitstab and Ali Tato. You guys are the meat hook planted directly in my heart. Thank you so much. And the rest of you guys, if you'd like to support the channel, the best way to do that, well, is liking the video and subscribing. But if you want to go above and beyond, the Patreon really does help me in not going broke. So, links in the description. But for anyone who's made it this far in the video, thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one. And the next one's gonna be a big one. Jesus. I'll see you guys then. Ty out. Peace. Hey guys, Ty here. Doom the Dark Ages. Is it really that good? Doom the Dark Ages. It's kind of funny, I thought that was Doom 3. Get it? Because it was so dark. After literally winning the fight and killing out every single demon at the end of Doom Eternal by killing this handsome guy, the Doom Slayer finally gets a well-deserved nap. The Slayer's story was finished, absolutely done at the end of Doom Eternal. That is until lead dev Hugo Martin sat down and watched Army of Darkness and went, I'ma do that. Taking place roughly, here in the timeline, we get the Slayer's medieval arc where the guy was so damn good at ripping and tearing until it was done. The Makers, the weird moth people we met in Doom Eternal.
Every 10,000 years, all moths combine their collective consciousness into one gigamoth called the Con Maker.
Man, I love Maxor. They keep the Doom guy prisoner and use him as their own personal nuke. Like, they literally hot drop this guy whenever the demons get a little bit too excitable, and he shoots that shit down. It's so metal. I love this franchise. Hey guys, quick second. My dog is currently stuck inside a wall. And I'm pretty sure my pet insurance is not going to cover this. If you want to help out my little best boy, Lucifer, please hit the like button and be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you don't, I might have to put the poor boy down. Holy shit, that was the darkest call to action I've ever done on the channel. Anyway, back to the video. Now, we've covered an insane amount of Doom content on the channel. We've gone through the classics and also did Doom 2016, Eternal, and all the DLCs. And I remember catching quite a bit of flack in the Doom Eternal video because I preferred Doom 2016 over Eternal, which on the internet is essentially killing a kitten live on stream. You guys were not happy. So yeah, 2016 is my favorite new Doom, but I actually rate Dark Ages more than Eternal. And I feel like I'm going to piss off those people even more now. Please be gentle in the comments, I beg. I have a very fragile personality. It's hard to explain as well. I don't know. I think I just liked the more horror atmosphere from Doom 2016. That was completely absent in Doom Eternal, and now that's still kind of completely gone in Dark Ages? I don't know, this game just hit better for me compared to Eternal. Maybe it's because this time the Slayer is in full Captain America gear. And man, I love the shield gameplay in TDA. Sonic Unleashed boosting into a demon like an out-of-control Ford Fiesta never, and I mean never, gets old. This game has like testosterone in the code or something. And speaking of the code, where is the code? There's nothing on the discs with Doom The Dark Ages. The game only drops with about 85 megabytes on the physical disc, which means this is basically a fully digital title. All these discs are doing is being a glorified game key. It's sad to see that the industry is now moving more into the fully digital age, and even though the Switch 2 isn't even out yet, I'm still gonna blame Nintendo. Also, throwing this thing out like a Beyblade, as it takes out a bunch of demons, is power fantasy done right. If there's one bit of advice I can give at the start of the game is max out the shield with the upgrades immediately. Trust me, it's a game changer. The new parry system is also a massive W for me, and not because I kiss a poster of Miyazaki before bed every night, but it added a layer to the engagements that just make you feel like this godlike creature. Sure, most of the parry stuff is reactive, and can look a little bit silly with the bright green fuck me light on all these attacks. But when you're in that flow state and start actively going out of your way to parry moves that probably weren't even gonna hit you, something clicks for me. And again, it's something that I didn't really jive well with in Eternal. In that game, I felt stressed out in every single encounter. I was going mental on my keyboard, switching weapons, trying to work out what's the best strategy to take out this demon than that demon. It got a little bit too much. DD8 is a lot slower, and that can be a negative, but I don't know, it just hits this sweet spot that I just really jive with. I never thought Doom would become a bullet hell, but I'm all for it, especially once you upgrade with runes. Parrying a projectile and not only sending it right back, but with a certain upgrade, also sending several glowy swords towards the unfortunate demon that decided to step up to me, it floods my brain with the happy chemicals. I really don't get why people had so much hatred on the parry system. I think it's a W, I love it. The only thing I really struggled with in Doom The Dark Ages was about 2/3 into the playthrough I finally started actually actively shielding basic attacks. I don't know why, something felt a bit odd about slowing down the game that much to defend, honestly, just standard attacks. Especially compared to the classic gameplay, which was just full send everything. With Eternal, you had to be a tactician when it came to fighting, quick switching between the right weapons for the right enemies and their weaknesses, and juggling a bunch of different ammo types. Even to take down the most basic demons. In Dark Ages, you're just a feral lad, stomping into a literal war zone, destroying waves of enemies like your Omni-Man on a bad mental health day. It's so good, and it's exactly what I think this guy would do in this situation. He is hungry for demons. A big topic of contention with the fan base is the music, and I'm gonna be honest, it's the weakest in the new Doom series. There's still some absolute bangers, don't get me wrong. These are few and far between, and they're context sensitive, so more often than not, you'll just have standard ambiance when you're going through a level. The tracks don't really kick in until a fight starts, but these are over so quickly, you don't really get a chance to headbang to the music. And of course, you do feel a lack of Mike Gordon. He didn't do anything for the soundtrack this time around, and yeah, it hurts, but it isn't that bad. On the flip side though, the sound design is insanely good. Everything's crunchy, the Doom guy feels like he weighs an absolute shit ton. The guy is built like a tank and you feel it in this game. What is it with the Doomslayer that just makes him so insanely cool? The guy literally only has one line in the entire video game. Hell, not even one line. He says one word, and it's somehow the best thing written in the entire franchise. Chills. Literal chills, guys. But when the music lacks, the game goes full metal in the gameplay. Fist fighting a massive demon in a mech, like a kaiju fight, is masculinity personified. Running around breaking everything in my way in this giant ass mech, it's childlike wonder for me. Oh, there's so much stuff to break. Oh, that was oddly satisfying, I'm not gonna lie. And though the dragon sections are far too long and a bit boring for me, and also reminds me of a completely different game,
do a barrel roll!
You can't deny the first time Serrat pops up in the game, pure cinema. Love this little guy. Hopefully we don't get a repeat of past pet relationships with him. The map designs for Doom the Dark Ages are separated into 4 different types. First is the classic, more linear style, what you'd expect from Doom 2016 and Eternal. Getting from point A to point B, pretty simple, grabbing a few keys and making sure you get as much demon blood coated into your armor as possible. The second playstyle is the more bigger open maps. These are absolutely huge, biggest in the franchise for sure. And the first time you drop in one of these, it's pretty awesome. But the honeymoon period fades real quickly. There's just way too much backtracking and walking in these sections. I don't know why, but they also dropped fast travel, which would have made these sections so much easier. But I don't know, I found myself just doing nothing far too often on these levels. Granted, it's more my fault. I wanted to collect everything and do every puzzle I could find in this playthrough, but yeah, I guess it's my bad. Some people really enjoy these, I just found them way too boring. The worst one for me was the Heart Forge. I just got so fed up of going through this area. You have to flip a few switches to activate the Heart Forge, and that's pretty much it. You do that for 20 minutes, not great. And the map itself is way too bland. I thought this was 2025, not 2006. Why is there so much brown and gray in this level? Now, I mentioned 4 types of maps. The 2 others are the mech segments, which do just turn into a punch-out minigame. It's pretty shallow and repetitive, but I can't deny, I really like these. Something about doing a combo on a giant-ass demon, ending with a palm punch or just straight-up overkill. Yeah, my monkey brain likes it. It's stupid, there's not much to it, but it gives me an adrenaline rush. The last section is the dragon sections with Surat. These look cool, but drag on so damn hard for me. I love this little guy. I just didn't jive with the gameplay. Each time I was riding the dragon, I just speed ran the level to get to the boots on the ground sections. Now, thankfully, those are sprinkled into the levels, but I don't know, man. Doing the same thing, taking out the ships by dodging an attack, it got so boring. Can you tell I was never a fan of Star Fox? But those are really my only negatives. The nods back to Doom's heritage are great. We finally get the head UI back that shows damage on the Slayer, and he constantly looks like he has a secret to tell. So shifty, man. And you can actually change it back to the classic head in the settings. This is amazing. I would say id Software really do care about its fan base that played the originals, but why the fuck is there no classic suit? You did this, but didn't put in the classic suit? It's such a missed opportunity. The new design is cool, don't get me wrong. I love the cape, which just makes him look like Raditz from Dragon Ball. Imagine if you had this suit as an unlockable in the game. This is so good. Boys, you dropped the ball. Don't worry, they pick it back up. The weapons are pretty awesome. Melee-wise, I love the Nintendo Power Glove and the Flail. These are great. And the Dead Mace is essentially a BFG melee weapon. That's awesome. OP as fuck, but awesome. There are some weaker weapons like the grenade launcher and chain shot. They're a bit too situational for me. I wasn't a fan. The SSG is back, and of course, I love this thing. And the reload, so good. Reloading this thing with one hand is epic. But the MVP for me is the new kid on the block, the Skull Crusher. This thing's so good. This ammo is just skulls, which I assume we've ripped out of demons. It crushes them up and then just spits it back at the demons. It's so good, and its range is crazy. Taking on hordes of enemies and turning them into ragu with this weapon, once it's fully maxed out, is insane. And it has a passive where once it's fully upgraded, it gains ammo back on kills, so you can go into a massive fight using this thing only, and you'll still walk away out of the engagement with max ammo. This is busted. Difficulty-wise, the game is pretty easy. I would say it's probably on par with Doom 2016, maybe a little bit easier than that. It is in no way Doom Eternal. Trying to play that game on the harder difficulties still gives me PTSD. But you can change pretty much any difficulty slider in the setting, so I can see why id Software said they want this to be anyone's Doom. You can change this game up to play more like Doom Eternal. You can slow it down even more than a base game, but it feels a bit more like Doom 2016. You can do honestly anything, so they kind of covered their backs on that one. I'm not a big fan of being able to adjust difficulty sliders like this. I feel like it loses some of that design from the devs. That's why I'm a big fan of From Software. One difficulty, and the devs have full control on how it feels and how difficult it can get. I think that is the golden standard for difficulties in games, but I don't know, it's nice to have the option, I guess. But why are we ripping and tearing this time around? Not that this guy really needs a reason, but this game is the most cinematic in the series, so I guess we should take a look at the story. Now, of course, I'm going to be breaking down a game that dropped like 2 days ago, so yeah, there are going to be spoilers from this point on, so if you don't want to see those, skip to the timestamp somewhere on the screen and go play the game for yourself. Just make sure you come back and watch. I need the views. So we last left off with the Slayer taking a well-deserved nap at the end of Doom Eternal, but Dark Ages is a prequel and takes place a little bit after the events of Doom 64. After he decides to stay in hell and, man, just keep doing what he loves, killing demons. Now, there's not much really said about this time before Dark Ages, but essentially he just kept killing demons in hell for a few years. Like, quite a few years. Time works differently in hell, so it's probably been like centuries. But Doom Guy hasn't really aged. I don't know, man, and I don't think id Software really care, but he's just been doing it for a while. And at some point he meets the Night Sentinels, a warrior race that, again, just love killing demons. We saw a little bit of his first meeting with these guys in Doom Eternal. He also meets the Makers, an ancient hive mind race of, like Maxwell said, moth people. I cannot think of them as not moth people now. Dude has ruined the franchise for me. So the Slayer works with the Sentinels taking out demons and starts to show that he's a force to be reckoned with. Makers see this and decide that they could use him, and mainly the Seraphim? Oh my god. The dude in Eternal. There's a lot of stuff in Eternal you need to know to make sense of this plot. He's essentially the guy that decided to give Doom Guy some steroids and buff up his power level, essentially making him a roided out god. Not that he really needed it, but not only did it power him up, it also kind of put him under the Maker's control. So the Slayer becomes the Maker's bitch boy, and that's where Dark Ages basically starts, with the Makers and the Sentinels at war with the demons, and our little buddy here, being a Moab, they just drop into an LZ as soon as things get out of hand with the demons. Now this means that the Makers, the Sentinels, and Hell are kind of at a stalemate, and with the Slayer not being able to go just full ape shit on them, things don't really change in the tide of the battle. That's when the Prince of Hell himself, Azrak, I've probably pronounced that wrong, decides instead of just constantly fighting a battle that's not going anywhere, he decides to look for something called the Heart. He also likes to dress like Gary Oldman's character in the movie Dracula 1992. The devs knew what they were doing. This outfit is iconic. Now the start's pretty slow. There's quite a few chapters. There's 22 in total. So the tutorials kind of last like 3 or 4 levels. So the beginning can be a bit rough and slow paced. It essentially has the Doom Guy being dropped into a few LZs and just ripping and tearing through the level design. And honestly, the design is pretty good. Graphically, the game looks so beautiful. It was a little dark. Oh, I get it. It's pretty cool to see the Sentinels alive and kicking, as well as civilians from time to time. Most of the Doom games have this sole survivor feeling. You know, like 100 gorillas versus 1 Doom guy type of design. Here we actually see a few NPCs as we go through the levels, and justifiably, they are terrified of the Slayer. Throughout the story, the Slayer starts breaking out of the mind control the Makers have on him. And honestly, it looks kind of terrifying. I get why these guys are so scared of him. They keep putting more and more power into the hold on him, but eventually he does just break out of it completely.
Before he kills us all!
It would appear that the Slayer no longer wishes to be detained here.
The Makers have to quickly run and dump him into an LZ, but they still have a tether on him, so they highly doubt he'll be coming back for them to get revenge, because if he did that, they could just detonate him like an actual nuke. So for now, they just let the Slayer do what he wants to do, which is, again, what they were using him for, killing demons. I really do not understand why the Makers felt like they needed to mind control the Slayer. All he wants to do is to be pointed at Hell and let off a leash. Do that and the Slayer is a happy boy. So what did the Makers do? They put him under mind control, which will obviously piss him off, and then just pointed him towards Hell and let him go crazy. Why? Talk about adding too many steps. The Prince of Hell does a full frontal assault on the Night Sentinel's base because they believe they have the heart there. They try this a few times and they fail, no thanks to the Slayer, but eventually they do find out that the heart is actually inside a Sentinel herself, Hera. And how do they know this? Well, the Makers can see everything the Doomslayer sees, thanks to the Tether. And Fira takes the Slayer off to power up his shield by using this celestial power, which is what the Prince is looking for. The Creed, which is the big fat maker guy we saw at the start of the game who likes to do the Terry Crews titty jiggle, relays this information to Hell. Now, again, I don't want to make this a habit, but I do not understand why the Makers do shit in this game. The Prince is getting desperate. He needs this heart. He even goes as far as to ask for some support from the Makers, and the Creed himself rejects him because they don't like the demons either at this point. I mean, later on that's going to change, but right now they don't really care. Now, I guess the story's trying to tell us that the Creed is feeling a little bit self-conscious because the Slayer is out doing whatever he wants now, and he might want revenge. But again, we've already established that they can just turn the guy off thanks to the Tether, so why are we helping the Prince of Hell? It's so dumb. Anyway, the Prince with this information decides to kidnap Fira, and he escapes to a faraway planet. The Slayer goes and awakens something called the Old One, which is just this giant Cthulhu looking guy, and uses him to piggyback through a portal to the same planet. And the Old One's home turf is basically HP Lovecraft. You remember when these games were just about hell? Now, I think it's pretty stupid, but I actually really like this area. The backdrops are gorgeous, the spooky creatures in the background, absolutely a nice touch. And it's the only time the game really even gets a slight hint of the horror-esque design that I love in classic Doom and 2016. Anyway, as the Slayer tries to catch up with the Prince, he gets eaten by the Old One himself. And now we're inside Jabu Jabu. I feel like I reference Zelda in every video I make on Doom. Is that weird? It's a pretty interesting level. We just have to beat up organs inside the Old One, and then eventually we make him a new hole and break out. The Slayer catches up with the Prince, but gets blindsided by his witch. And then we proceed to get disrespected. The Prince gets the full power of an old Sentinel god, and with the power level dynamic in the war shifted, he goes on a killing spree and attacks the Sentinels head on.
Everyone out, now.
Not sure why the Prince doesn't kill the Slayer right here, but decides to lock him up in a prison made of old ones. The Doom guy obviously thinks this was really stupid and decides to just self-detonate anyway and die to get out of the prison. Smart? I'm not sure if this was planned by the Slayer, but this man is literally just too angry to stay dead. He wakes up in hell as a damned soul. And this doesn't change a goddamn thing. He just continues to kill off the demons, even though he's technically one of them now. It's very Eren Yeager of him. It's so funny to me that these demons have been trying to kill off the Slayer for so long now. Even if they had succeeded before this point, who cares? Rip and tear, motherfucker. This guy will just do it in hell. It's so good. But we can't stay here. We need to get back and kill off the Prince. So we head to the River of Styx and pay the toll to board the ship.
Payment required.
I love this game, man. If you were not a fan of the franchise till now, this moment here should have changed your mind. It's so good. We resurrect back to life and, well, you guessed it, we rip and tear. Dead, alive, on Earth or in hell, this man has one goal and insanely good work ethic. He does not stop. Firstly, as we self-detonated, the tether is no longer activated, so we can pit stop at the Creed's place and teach him the ancient ritual of fuck around and you're gonna find out. The boss fights are fun, but they rely way too heavily on the parry system for me. Once you've got a good grasp of this system, the bosses are a joke. In all honesty, I think one Marauder in Doom Eternal is harder than all of the bosses in Dark Ages combined. Might be a hot take, I don't know. That's how I feel. With the Creed dead, the Slayer sets his sights on Azrak, the Prince. But the Prince sends out a starter course for the Doomslayer before the big main fight, and it's with a cybered up old one. This is a fully mech fight, and it feels like something straight out of classic Godzilla. I love this fight. Again, just counter. It's very easy to do, but it does feel great. And the old one pulls out some really out there moves, so much in fact that it actually caused my first and only crash in the entire playthrough. But after eating some fried squid, the Doom guy steps out of his mech for a 1v1 snipers only match on Rust with the Prince of Hell. We could just take him out in the mech, it's pretty OP, but Doomslayer don't fight that way. This game is the embodiment of aura. Now this fight is a lot more fun. Again, you have to rely on the parry so much. The guy is buffed up because of the celestial god energy he has devoured from the Sentinels, so he gets the upper hand. That is until Surat jumps in to help our boy out. Love this little guy. I really don't understand why id Software never had him return in the sequels. Oh no. No, seriously, you fucked up, dude. Do you know what this guy did after his last pet was killed by a demon? He literally decided to make it his life mission to kill every demon in hell. This guy doesn't play around. Of course, the Doomslayer goes full John Wick and aura diffs the Prince. And frees Fira. But the Prince does get away and he backpedals back to hell. Guess where we're going, boys? Honestly, at this point, the Slayer should just have like a condo or something in hell. He is here so often, it just makes financial sense. This is one gripe I do have with the new Doom story. I do wish we never got the whole basically a god power-up. I always liked the idea that this was just a random guy, average Joe, with some severe anger issues towards demons, and literally takes on hell because they killed his pet rabbit. I love how simple that is. The power difference is so bad now, I actually started to feel bad for the Prince at the end of the game. This was just pure unfiltered bullying on the Slayer's part. But with the Prince dead and the demons retreating, the Doomslayer decides to take over Creed's ship in hell and continues doing what he does best, ripping and tearing till it's done. And that's the story of Doom Dark Ages. I was expecting them to go full circle in this game and have it end with the Slayer in the coffin to start the story of Doom 2016. As we know from that game, while the Slayer is just messing around in hell and making the demons pretty terrified, they trick him into getting into a coffin. And that's how that game starts. id Software have announced DLC already for this game, so we'll likely see that in the DLC maybe. So they might try and milk the before 2016 arc further. Personally, I still want to see how he gets the Doom Fortress at the start of Eternal. I love that thing, but it comes out of fucking left field. But yeah, they're probably going to pack in a lot of stories and games in this section of the story. I really enjoyed my time with Dark Ages. I wasn't a big fan of the adrenaline-filled, twitchy gameplay style in Doom Eternal, and this game really does slow down that gameplay a little bit, but it's still fairly faster than Doom 2016, which is honestly that middle ground I absolutely love and is exactly what I wanted from a sequel after 2016. The game does what it sets out to do, and I really don't get why it's getting so much hate. I have to give massive props to id Software. They don't hesitate to completely change the gameplay style for their Doom games. These titles in the new Doom franchise play so differently from each other, and even Doom 3 was a drastic change to the style of the classic, so they just keep reinventing the wheel, which is honestly a solid strategy. Sure, it means the community is divided, but look at games like Halo and Call of Duty. It's just the same slop over and over and over again. I respect changing up the status quo. Doom 2 will always be my favorite classic Doom, and it looks like Doom 2016 will keep the crown as my favorite new Doom game in the saga. But I don't hate any of the games in the series. Sure, I didn't like some, like Eternal as much and Doom 64, but that's relative to the other games in the franchise. These are all insanely great FPS titles in their own right. They don't soak up too much time, they're kind of junk foodie-esque, and I like that. I feel like we're in an age with games that players are just being overly negative right out the gate when new titles launch. I miss the days when we just got excited for a new game in a series we love. Doom 2016, I remember the hype for that once we realized what Bethesda were cooking with that game. We were so excited, and yet Doom the Dark Ages has kind of just had a negative reception since it got announced. Why? It's so weird to me. The only thing I don't like about the new standard in the industry is the price point. 70 quid for Doom the Dark Ages I think is a little bit too steep. And though it's not Bethesda and id Software's fault entirely, it's becoming the new standard, but it doesn't mean I like it, and it doesn't mean I'm giving a pass. It's shitty. Other than that though, stellar title in the franchise. Cannot wait for the DLC to drop. Thank you so much if you made it this far in the video. Me and the YouTube algorithm love you so much for it. And speaking of love, I want to give a massive shout out to the Slayers that support me over on Patreon. You guys rip and tear right into this channel's heart. That was meant to sound way more cute than horrifying. Sorry. Thank you, Pitstab, Ali Tato, Chris Spicer, and new supporter Critical Quacker. I love you guys. It's mid-May, so we're in full gamer season. A bunch of titles are dropping soon, so I need to stop procrastinating and play some goddamn games. I'll see you in the next video. As always, stay safe out there and stay fashionable, gents. Tie out. Peace.